Hello everyone and welcome to Lightbringers podcast episode 59. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I'll change it in the description and it'll be fine. I have some awesome guests with me today to talk about the Skyscale, the Soaring with the Skyscale blog post, which is on the official Guild Wars 2 website, as well as having a look at the secrets of the obscure footage they released on Twitter as well. And yeah, we can just have a bit of a chat today. It won't be a massively long episode, although I say that and it'll probably be longer than normal because, hey, that's just what happens in life. But yeah, I'm going to show you their lovely faces. How is everyone? Are we all good? Like, anyone will say hello while I try and work out what's going on? Are we all good?
My left knee hurts, but...
Hello.
Wait,
Yeah,
what did you do with your knee?
I've been standing on it. That's it. I wish I had a more exciting, like... I just had like a long shift, so maybe that's why.
Wasn't like a footloose situation where you're out dancing against the
No,
town?
but my knee might be loose. I don't know.
Wait, you have a loose knee?
You want loose knees?
Mm-hmm.
One time, this girl in elementary school told me that I had cute looking knees. And I have held that with me for a long time.
I talk about knees a lot.
You have never recovered.
I've never recovered.
Knees are important. I've got an only knees. If you put it in chat, is it only knees? There you go. Coming soon or never. I didn't just make that. That's been there for ages. Anyway, hello chat live. Hello everyone listening. If you're listening on Spotify or many other platforms that we're on right now, as well as Twitch, YouTube, and all the things. If you have enjoyed or enjoy the podcast in the past or future or present, make sure you click that little thumbs up button. Also let us know with a comment. That would be massively appreciated. As well as also hitting that alarm bell if you're on YouTube so you can get alerted of new episodes that come out weekly. We are here every week until the expansion drops, which is only actually one more week technically. As well as just afterwards as well, because we've got loads of stuff to talk about. Still got the weapons to talk about. We won't be talking about that today.
Because Jebro doesn't like fun.
I love the fun. I just didn't have time to do anything, and also this came up, and I was just like, I need a shorter one because I need rest. I need actual rest. I'm kind of burning out a little bit at the moment in life, so. But this isn't really that much work for me. I like doing it. It is a lot of work. So make sure you support myself and the other creators that are lovely and legendary in this awesome episode today. All their stuff will be in the description below, and if they have affiliate links for the game that Guild Wars 2 sells, then they will have those as well. Otherwise, we have a returning guest as well. Astral Legend is going to do a little bit of an intro. Just tell us about yourself, what you do, where you do it, how people can find you. And welcome back. Astral Legend was on our I can't remember if we recorded Darkbringers or Nightbringers episode 2 years ago.
I think we called it Darkbringers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, which doesn't feel like that actually.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. That was when I was first starting out. I post lore on Twitter every day. That was when I was first beginning that journey and starting to put anything out. I've been streaming on Twitch ever since, twitch.tv/AstralLegend. And I'm starting to put out some YouTube stuff as well about lore, just about predictions of what's coming with SOTO, different gameplay stuff. I'm working on some guides as well. Yeah, you can find me kind of all over the place.
Awesome. And welcome back as well. Great to have you. Very last minute addition, as we have our regulars are out, but they're doing fun things, I assume. But it's good to have a new face. We haven't had a new or returning face in a long time, so it's good. It's good to have variety. You know, variety is good, and Astral Legend knows their stuff.
I try to. I try and keep up to date on absolutely everything.
Awesome. Okay.
What's my social security number?
Well, that would...
Kroof.
Hi.
Met you a few times before. Let us know what you do and
Just a few.
what you do it. And
I think we're at acquaintance level by now.
only
Hi,
how
everyone.
to reach your knees.
I know we have a mutual bond over our knees, but... Hi, everyone. I'm Kroof. Currently eating some peanuts. My favorite nut happens to be a cashew. But like peanuts are not technically nuts; they're legumes. But
Wait,
we still
what?
call them nuts.
Not for what?
Peanuts are not technically nuts; they're legumes.
What? Of what now?
I'm pretty sure.
What's a hume?
A legume.
Hume?
Legume.
Oh, you said a legume.
Yeah, Laguma Jungle. But
What?
I like cashews a lot. But thanks for having me here. I'm excited to talk about Skyscales and the trailers.
I'm so glad we can find you on your website, which is youtube.com/Kroof.
Yeah, I just own YouTube. Just type in YouTube. I'm there.
Google Kroof. Fornax, aka the Crichton Herald. Or the other way
Yellow.
around. Tell us
The
what you
Crichton
do, what you
Herald
do.
who
Oh,
might, yeah.
you've got a new
What?
background today.
Yeah.
What's that?
You like it?
Is that the ruins of Ascalon or something? Or
It is. It's one of the original concept arts. It's absolutely beautiful. You actually
love
can't see it,
those.
but down the bottom, behind my computer, there is horses. Like actual horses.
Oh, did they remove
In arena
that?
art?
Did they remove
They did
that?
not. They did
Myth.
not.
Do you remember when they had
did not.
horses in the of art for End of Dragons?
Yeah, they had it in the new Kining one, and they replaced it with like a big wolf.
And the
Right.
ambiguous beast.
That was funny.
Right, yeah. And
Guys, the horse
conspiracy
look like they calmed
continues.
down.
Conspiracy
Yeah.
continue. Do horses exist until?
In lore, they do. I mean, there is record of them, and there's the celestial horse, but
Oh,
they keep scrubbing every bit of information from them in Guild Wars 2, and I'm like, why are you hiding them?
interesting.
Yeah. Someone is diametrically opposed to equestrianism. That's what's happening. That's my theory.
Someone got trampled by a horse as a kid, and now they're out to remove all of them from their
Maybe.
game.
I will
Well, I mean,
give them therapy if that's the case. If I don't know them very well.
well, you can therapize me because that's a horse broke the bottom of my back. So,
Oh God!
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
shit.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I totally forgot. Oh my God.
It's Fornax. She's the one. She's trying to get rid of all the horses from Tyrion.
It's one-
It was me. I did it. Yeah, no,
Spins chair.
yeah.
Thank you for the
I
share.
fell off
though.
a horse
I
and it
remember that.
railroaded me. Yeah, that was
Oh,
amazeballs.
dear. It was
I don't recommend that,
amazeballs.
to be honest. Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Crichton Herald
but
does
I'm
not recommend
diametrically
being run
opposed.
over by a horse, apparently. So.
I do not. Yeah, and
Well,
you
there go
can
my
quote me
weekend
on that.
plans.
And I can guarantee you being run over by a truck is not fun either.
No,
What the
I've actually been hit by a car.
fuck?
Did you? Have you been run
Didn't
over
mean
by
to
a
swear.
truck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
What?
Tell me what?
Is it? Is it amazing?
Is
Well,
it
quick-
actually?
I guess we're all, I guess because we're all sharing.
Is it amazing? Is it amazing? No.
I mean,
I
It's
was
just
asleep
not,
and
actually.
a drunk driver ran through my house and yeah.
What?
Yeah.
They ran through your home?
It's
I
not
was
even like you weren't
asleep.
even out of your house.
I
You were
was
just in
it
your
felt
bed.
like I was like drunkenly crossing the street. I was 6 and I was run over in sleep during my
I'm sorry.
sleep. So
As what?
yeah, I'm alive.
I'm leaving that
For
there
those
for the
of
rest
my
of the
true
stream. That's
fans.
crazy.
For my true fans, y'all know the lore already.
Oh my god.
Good
The cars are out to get
lord.
you. Nowhere is safe.
The trauma
Definitely
in
no
this
color.
fucking podcast is uncanny.
Yeah, but we're alive. That's the
Yeah,
main
that's
thing.
the important part.
guess,
We
I
both
guess.
Right, they're still
survived.
here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going
What
to be
doesn't
after
kill you
that.
makes you stronger.
Oh God, that one.
Although technically, I have been run over by a horse and a car, and I have been shot. So.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're trying to
Any more
one-up each
takers?
other
Come on,
now.
come
It just
Come on,
keeps
come on,
growing.
come on.
Like it just keeps getting worse.
No? Okay, fine.
You're like my blue
snowballing.
eyes white dragon.
Oh my good lord.
I'm Fornax the Crichton Herald, survivor of many dangers in the real world. Please check out my YouTube channel. That's it. Please
it
go on with the show now.
youtube.com?
This is not what we meant when we said self-promo for us. Come on, we're working on it, but this is not the way.
This is not the way, not sensationalism.
I don't know, if you're the
Clickbait. There are no
Mandalorian,
videos about it on my channel.
Jesus. Survive bringers.
Sorry.
Yes, we'll go with that. And then we'll go with that. Oh my God.
Hey, Anla.
Bear Grylls has nothing on us.
Oh my god.
Just absolutely shocking, honestly. Okay, so let's.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm just like. Wow. Might need to take
Derail
this to
the
therapy.
podcast. That's what's happened. I apologize.
I don't know what's happening
Oh,
anymore.
chat.
There's a train now too.
Chat and listeners, how are y'all doing? Hopefully your Friday's going well, and or any other day you might be listening to this.
I hope you're not being run over by a horse
Yeah.
Or a car. Or a
or a
truck.
car in your bedroom, apparently.
Mm-hmm. And it was a bunk bed, and the bunk bed collapsed on it.
The bunk bed collapsed. Wow, so it was so close.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really glad you're here still, both of you.
I know.
Wow.
Did you
Astral
actually with you?
Legend is like,
No.
I didn't get run over by a bus or
Okay.
something.
This is maybe a separate.
I mean, I can talk about my trauma, but like that's a whole other.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
For
you've
inquiring
been-
minds, head over to my Patreon for $5 a month. You too can gain some insight into my life.
Listen to my trauma for $5 a month. That's what I do as well. Actually, that's
Someone
a really
has
good
to
thing.
exploit it. Someone's got to. It might as well be me.
Can we get some love in the chat for all these wonderful people who have a lot of trauma? And I know
Ew.
Astral Legend has talked about it a bit here and there on Twitter as well, like lots of stuff. So
I have, yeah.
my heart goes out to you, buddy, as well. Like there's
Thank you.
people go through so much and we just don't really think about or remember. So I appreciate that in the chat, peeps. We are very mental health focused. Obviously, me being a mental health therapist is probably the reason behind that. So we appreciate you all sharing what you do in chat. And if you ever do want to share anything, you are very welcome to do so. Hopefully, I promote this to be a very safe and awesome space. But we don't trauma dump in the chat though. We can do that here in the podcast, which is fine. But like because we have
gosh.
skilled
Because we're
professionals that can
better
deal
than
with
ever.
it.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, maybe.
Because someone
my
was
gosh.
smart enough to give us a mic and a platform, so you all have to suffer.
Yeah.
Sorry, mine was for comedic effect. True story, but
Mine
for
was
comedic
too.
effect. I apologize. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh.
What did
For
you say?
comedic
Anyways,
effect.
Soaring with the Skyscale.
Oh yeah.
Jebro does not understand what comedy is.
I didn't hear that.
No.
That's why I was
just
like,
kidding.
"What? What's happening?"
Uh,
I don't actually. Okay, Soaring with the Skyscale. We're gonna go through the blog post. We're gonna do what we normally do. We're gonna read it so you don't have to, and also because I didn't read it. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna be commenting on it as we go, and then we're gonna chat about the Twitter footage we saw from SOTO as well, which is very
Which is now on
interesting.
YouTube at higher
Uh-oh.
quality.
Oh, okay. So I'll pick up the YouTube thing for that as well instead. I'm going to just read the first little bit, and then Crew's going to pick another bit, and we can take turns if other people want to, and otherwise me and Crew will do and whatever. But here you go. Soaring with the Skyscale. If you don't know, the Skyscale is going to be available in the new expansion. You're going to be able to get it there as well as from the old ways. We're only a few weeks away from the launch of Guild Wars 2, Secret of the Obscure. And if someone wants to get a counter going as well in chat of how many times they say that, then you're very welcome to. When the expansion launches on August 22nd, it'll bring all new areas to explore. Set high in the skies above Tyria, 2 new explorable zones, and the Wizard's Tower outpost, with another map to open up in following releases as the story progresses. To help you explore those maps, you'll get access to a new streamlined method to unlock your Skyscale mount, plus new masteries for flying mounts. Ooh. The Raptor mount will also be unlocked for owners of Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, although you'll need Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire to train its associated masteries. Really? That's interesting.
That's the way it is with End of Dragons already. You get
It
the
is?
Raptor, but what's interesting is that you also get the Springer in End of Dragons, and I just realized
Yeah,
they
I
did not
thought
mention
so.
it here.
Yeah,
So
okay,
I guess
that's-
because we have Skyscale, we won't need it. Are they just like confirming that the Skyscale invalidates Springer?
Yeah.
Springer's
Yeah.
just not really. I wonder what is the least used mount as well. It's probably that, isn't it?
I'd say
It's either that or Skimmer.
or Jackal. No, I'd say probably Jackal.
I think people use the Jackal just because it looks cool.
I don't think people use the Jackal as much as something like a Raptor. Maybe Springer. My money would be on Springer or Jackal.
I do think that Jackal is probably a good guess, especially since you don't actually have to ever unlock the Jackal. It's not required for Path of Fire storyline. You can
That's
entirely
true.
skip it.
And because there's really very few sand portals, you know, if you want to just gain distance, you'll probably go Raptor or Roller Beetle if you have it.
And they're only really existing. Yeah, that's true. There's not really.
So
a
someone's
thing in the
taking
ones.
the bunny upstate to the farm. That's going to take it around the back of the
Oh my
the shop.
god! Fortnite!
And next week we'll have the Springer on to discuss its trauma.
Yeah. I understand the horse trauma, but the bunnies, really? Like, jeez.
Poor bunnies. It's been a hard week, guys. It's going to be a bit salty today.
This week.
I actually think a mount like the Jackal would have slotted into this expansion really well because it is like a sense of magical sand, or they could have mixed it up and just been magical essence. They could have had more portals to help you traverse the landscapes. So I would have kind of liked if it was Raptor and Jackal instead of Raptor and Springer.
That would have been cool, especially since there are going to be Path of Fire areas, at least in Skywatch Archipelago. So it would have given reason to have that sand magic that creates the Jackal portals, right? Like there's lore reasons for it. They could have easily done that.
No, I agree. Some of the most magical moments of playing through on the Jackal were like going up into the sky, and it was just absolutely beautiful, fantastic storytelling. I wish that they would bring that back. That sense of like wonder and exploration is something that I feel like we didn't get as much of. Although we did get some in Echo Val Forest. I love the
that was good. No.
elements, but nothing quite prepares you for like going up into the sky and then seeing the magical outline of that sky city on the Jackal. That was just like peak. I think.
Have you tried to go see? What you should do is go through all the core Tyria maps with Skyscale and go to the top. Ore is really good. Ore is so awesome to see from above. Like you can see so many awesome. Just the scale of things. No pun intended.
Also, I haven't mentioned this, and I was going to mention it on Twitter or like in a video.
Don't tell us you got run over by something else.
She got run over by a jackal at one point.
It was a really hard time. It was a really difficult time. No, but in Desert Highlands, you have that whole entire jackal, as Swornex was saying, when you go up into the sky, and then if you go into a certain area at night, it shows this magical star castle thing. And I'm always like, I was like, what was the purpose of that? You know? Well,
it would be interesting to see, a tie to like the wizards there, because that is such an interesting, like, kind of magical up in the atmosphere location that it would have kind of tied in. It could still, but it would definitely tie into the wizards who have been floating above the planet for a really long time. I also just realized that entire section is you get there via a sand bridge, and I don't think we even see those sand bridges in season 4. I don't think they ever brought those back, which I think is really unfortunate.
I think so, yeah.
If anyone's listening, quarter content after the expansion launch, Jackal's a good mount to use.
Yeah, that's right. Because they started bringing in more mounts, right? Because there was the beetle and whatnot as well, and then the turtle, and then they kind of just forgot about a few of them.
The only other time that we actually have to use Jackal or used it after Path of Fire was in Wing 6. Under the Mystic Forge, there's a portal after the first boss that requires Jackal.
Okay.
If that gentleman that we see in the art with Zoja and the portal, if he is a djinn, that would be a great crossover, because the djinn and the jackals are linked, which is why what I thought always that like light sky city was. I thought it was like an air djinn palace. Was my head canon for it before. I mean, would I like the guy in the picture to be a seer? Yes, I would. Still, it would be much cooler if he was a seer, but I think we're getting a djinn. I don't know.
And I did see some fire djinn in the trailer where they showed off the Skywatch Archipelago.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Anything else from this passage? Not much there, but still, it's a little. Do you think you should be just allowed to just train the raptor mount now? Now that they're just kind of giving it, or not? What do you think?
I mean, I think that they have that level 10 trial, but even for new players going through it, I would have loved to have had those stable areas where you could rent a mount, maybe in like every map in the core of Tyria.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or if you purchase, like other MMOs where you just purchase the license for a decent lump sum of gold and you can just summon and use them out whenever you want. I think that'd be fine, just because it is like very standard.
I mean, I think for the amount of work that the Skyscale is and the amount of technical work that went into it, I don't blame them for saying, if you want all these nice toys, you have to go and buy the expansion where we gave you them. I think that that's a fair, especially if you wait and you get bundles or you wait for the sale.
I think also there's a technical limitation with the way that the mastery system is built. The Raptor requires Path of Fire mastery points and experience gained within the Path of Fire zones. So to unlock that and make it maybe a core, even core is separate from Heart of Thorns or SOTO or EOD or whatever. So to make it something that's more universal, I think would require a lot of overhaul of the entire system.
Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Good thoughts.
I don't think that there's any location in any of the other maps where you need the extended Raptor jump, and that's really the main benefit of training the masteries for Raptor, right? Like outside of Path of Fire, there are no large canyons that you have to jump over. There's maybe some gaps in rooftops in New Kaining or across some branches in Ekavald, but there's really not a good location where you actually need that extended jump outside of the Path of Fire zones.
I guess races. Maybe.
Yeah, races are pay to win. I mean,
that's true. That is actually funny. Sure.
I kind of think of it as I think they're leaning into the community's like. So the community love the flying mounts. They love the Skyscale and the Griffin. We have all really gravitated towards them.
Yeah.
And so they're pivoting and angling their content towards it. It's just now we're losing out on some of the fun of the jack.
It's part that. I think also, I don't know if they've done this intentionally. I'm guessing that they have, but each expansion now has been based around an element, with Heart of Thorns being earth, Path of Fire obviously fire, EOD being water, and this one being the air. It's just something that I've noticed with all four of them, and so it makes sense. I think that they're going into the flying mounts a little bit more heavily in the sort of air themed expansion. But like you said, Fornax, I do think that it's part of, the community loves the flying mounts and a lot more people want it. So giving us an easier way is a way to, help the community kind of stay up to date with all of the new fun tricks.
Cool. I'm loving this chat already. Awesome. Criff, do you want to start? I like the point you made about the kind of elements in each expansion. I don't think I've really ever thought about that. It's a very good point. Criff, do you want to go maybe?
Sure.
I'll
Reintroducing the Skyscale. The Skyscale mount originally launched with the finale of Living World Season 4, War Eternal. It was unlocked by completing a series of achievements that required a significant time and material investment to reflect the Skyscale's position as something of a prestige mount. Sorry, I'm pausing the music that was playing in the background. My brain was not liking that. 4 years into the future, we're telling a story in primarily aerial maps that take advantage of different types of travel and movement. And we're adding a parallel path for unlocking the Skyscale and its masteries in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure. You'll be introduced to the new Skyscale acquisition method through the expansion story by unlocking the Flight Training Mastery line. After training the first tier of the line, you'll unlock the new Skyscale collection. This collection is a streamlined successor to the original. Our primary goal was to simplify some of the steps while maintaining much of the collection's theming and story. As we approached giving players reliable access to the Skyscale in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure explorable zones, we took what we learned from maps such as Dragonfall and sought to improve the mount rental experience. In the new expansion maps, you do not need to go to a specific location in the map to hop on a Skyscale. You'll have access to the mount button just like players who have permanently unlocked it, allowing you to mount whenever you choose. Assuming you get to Skywatch Archipelago, the first new explorable zone, by following the normal story progression, you'll have Skyscale access when you first set foot there. Or fly, because it's in the sky. You won't be much setting foot.
Amazing. Yeah, I had a thought about this. So are they going to rejig? Are they going to give you different options if you do get the Skyscale in Secrets of the Obscure and then get it in whichever map we get it from? I can't remember. But
Dragonfall.
That's it, yeah. So because it will kind of be weird if you get the Skyscale and then you go back to get the sky scale again, but like to get all the masteries. Do you see what I mean? Like, because you're raising a sky scale which you already have. I don't know. Or am I missing a thing here?
My thought is that, I mean, the achievements and collections are going to be there anyway, both for achievement hunters, for, the collections for vision, where you need the sky scale. I think that it makes me wonder if they're going to require that you complete those quests in order to unlock the Path of Fire mastery section for the sky scale, because you're going to need both, right? If you want the upgraded versions of the skills, you're going to need to finish the Path of Fire masteries and the SOTO masteries. So are we going to have to do the whole quest line for those who haven't done it before in order to get those upgraded masteries? And I think the answer is probably yes, in a similar way that they lock the skimmer underwater behind an achievement collection. I think they're going to lock the sky scale ones behind the previous collection, because that was the way you unlock that mastery line. I don't think that mastery line is going to instantly unlock when you get a sky scale by setting foot in Skywatch Archipelago.
Just seems
I also think
weird.
that the acquisition will be super different as well. Sorry, Jebro.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot easier, right? That's what they were hoping.
Well, I don't think that we're going to be raising a chick. I think that is going to be an exclusive process.
Well, I'm not entirely sure, because there are baby ones lying around in Skywatch Archipelago. They show them off in that trailer that they had like a week ago with the rifts. There was one in the background, just chilling on the ground in a little nest. So I bet that we are still raising one, but maybe not from an actual hatchling, and maybe we aren't saving them like we did in Dragonfall. We're skipping those steps and just going straight to raising it. So it may still take 3 days. If you have to feed your sky scale, which was time gated by 3 or 4 days, it may still take that. But I do think it's interesting with the new rental system that they talk about here, that you're going to get one immediately as a rental. Is that going to cost you every time you hit your mount button, like 10 silver, like it does for the roller beetles during festivals? What is exactly going to be the deal here?
Is that actually how much it costs? I actually didn't know that.
It's 10 silver, to grab a roller beetle. You do get it for like 2 hours, unless you leave Holbrack. But I remember during Dragon Bash, you can go there and you pay 10 silver, and then you get like a buff that gives you one for a while. And it's kind of the same with Raptor. At level 10, if you're free to play, you get it for 10 hours, and that's it. So I wonder if there's going to be anything like that here, of any sort of limitation, or are they just like, here's your sky scale, unlock or do the collections to get the masteries? I really don't know what they're going to do here. I wonder
if it's a wild one that you tame. They here's a sky scale and you have to tame it over time or something as you go through the story. It would be interesting to see if the story ties directly to the main story, ties directly to having your sky scale as well, as if it's like really that important, because it is really important, right?
I would guess yes. Even when EOD, when you go to unlock like Raptor and Springer, there are like specific quests that you have to do there. It's hard tasks, but there's at least a lore reason for why you get one. They don't just give it to you. No, in End of Dragons, there are heart tasks that you do in order to get the Raptor and the Springer. They're both in New Kaining, actually.
Oh my god! I didn't even know that. Well, I guess I didn't do it because I didn't need to. That's the thing. Shit, I did not even know that. Wow, okay. All right.
I hope it's not too repetitive, because I like the acquisition process for both the roller beetle and the sky scale. I liked how rolled into the story it was. I really enjoyed that it was almost like an ordinary quest. That was like great. I like that. I miss ordinary quests. I hope it's something interesting, at least for players who already have a sky scale, to partake in. I think if it's too repetitive and too similar to the first one, I think that people will be a bit grumpy.
I also wonder if they do make the Path of Fire sky scale masteries locked behind the quest to get it, are they also going to make players who already have a sky scale do the unlock quest to unlock the SOTO mastery line? Right? Like, you're going to have to do the achievement to unlock either mastery line. I wonder if they're going to lock it behind that, or if the second you set foot into SOTO, you're now earning masteries towards your sky scale.
That's interesting. I don't know.
I mean, the way that I saw it, it was like, no matter which expansion you have, you're going to gain all of the masteries for the sky scale, but having both gives you advantages. So there will be a little bit more incentive to have both of the mastery tracks, but they're going to feel, I imagine, pretty similar, somewhat similar.
Right. I'm just wondering if to unlock the mastery line in order to train those extra abilities, will you have to do the achievement quest that new players would have to do to unlock the sky scale?
The new one?
Yeah, like, I've got my sky scale already. Am I going to have to go through the brief quest that new players would use to unlock a Skyscale in order to unlock the masteries.
I think
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think
so too. I think
Yeah.
we had to go through a quest to unlock fishing and EOD, and that's the first mastery line. So I think there's going to have to be some sort of content that you have to do in order to first start progressing those masteries for the Skyscale, even if you already have one.
It's just weird how it's just that story, which is how they do this in a way that seems, because you've still got your skins, right? Like it's not a different, like if it's a new Skyscale you're doing like training and you've already got one, it's like you've got a skin, right? And it's like, it kind of seems odd, like how they're gonna actually do that. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if you say like you say, will we have to do the same thing as new players, or whether or not they actually adjust it for people who do have the Skyscale, and they just kind of say, yeah, maybe they skip you, maybe there is a different kind of intro or a different way of doing it. That would be interesting to see. I actually think that would be a really good idea, to be honest.
You know what this reminds me of? So sorry, I apologize. In Final Fantasy, I'll be very quick. In
you don't
14.
need to be quick.
No, but I don't want to interrupt.
You didn't interrupt.
Sorry.
Cool, go right ahead.
In Final Fantasy 14, the way that you unlock flying is you do it per zone. So you go around and you have a little gauge where you test the air currents, so that you have to get to know the map. You get to these locations, you test the air currents, and then once you've ascertained all the air currents in the area, then you unlock the ability to fly in them. If we're in this sky archipelago, there could be a genuine lore reason why our Skyscales need to acclimate themselves to this new environment, to this, maybe it's high altitude, that kind of thing. There could be any number. Maybe there's too much latent magic in the air so there could be any number of lore. Acclimate our Skyscale to this new environment in order to fly it, which could be a nice way of onboarding people who don't have a Skyscale to getting them one in this process, is my thoughts.
Okay. Astro, are you going to say something else?
I'm reading ahead on the blog post, and I'm just going to hold it until we've officially read that.
I was going to say some of our stuff might have been answered. Does anyone else want to do flight training mastery, or shall I? I don't mind. Yeah, I'll go for it.
Flight training mastery.
Okay,
if you aren't familiar,
go.
It's like, well, my vocal cords are already warmed up. If you aren't familiar with Guild Wars 2's account-wide progression system, check out the official wiki article on Mastery to get a primer. The new flight training mastery line includes parallel skill unlocks from the original Skyscale mastery line, a new Skyscale skill, and new interactions with other travel and exploration masteries. As you can see in the chart below, players who have already trained certain masteries, or who go back to unlock and train them later, will have additional benefits. Their mounts, air rescue, and wall launch skill will be upgraded to reflect their dedication. Updrafts and ley lines across Tyria will be compatible with the new combination masteries that allow flying mounts, the Griffin and the Skyscale, to take advantage of them. These types of complementary effects continue to expand the opportunities for exploration, and they give riders new ways to pull off incredible aerial feats.
This is interesting. Okay, let's
Shall we go through?
Let's stop. Yeah, let's stop there for now. Yeah. I just want to go through some of the stuff before as well. So with the Griffin, they're adding, the different bits and bobs there as well. Do you think that's something that's just going to be given, or we have to train it specifically, or does it just come with it?
I think unless they give us a new way to unlock Griffin here, it's just going to be given.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're giving us a new way to unlock Skyscale. I don't think they're giving us a new way to unlock Griffin. So I think it's just going to be given when you unlock those Skyscale masteries in SOTO.
Yeah, because this mastery isn't necessarily named Skyscale mastery. It's a bit more broad in general, because it integrates Griffin, Skyscale, and also gliding in a different offshoot. So.
Okay.
I would also say that the Griffin is so low linked to the Sun Spear that they would be hard pressed to kind of press it into another lore landscape that they're building.
That's fair.
I do think it's interesting that here in the blog post, and this is when you asked if I had a thought, this is what it was. They mention, as you can see in the chart below, players who have already trained certain masteries or who go back to unlock and train them later. So I do think you're going to have to go through the Skyscale quests of Path of Fire to get those other masteries, because they say you have to unlock and train them.
they get. We talked about this briefly as well. Like, they're pretty. I think they're pretty good bonus. Well, fairly good bonuses, I guess. Yeah. I swear there were more.
For what is going to be new, we're going to, if you have the Skyscale already, you'll gain Bond of Vigor when you use Air Rescue. You'll gain an aerial attack, and your wall launch will charge faster and launch further. You'll also gain access to updrafts and ley lines.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to mount the Skyscale in combat. So... there's still
because
a decent amount of new stuff.
Right, yeah, that's right. So the bonus for both is actually 2, and then they've chucked some more in the base Skyscale, right?
Right. There's a lot that you're going to be unlocking just with base SOTO. The only 2 that are unique to having both Path of Fire and SOTO is that Air Rescue, which is mounting the Skyscale in midair, will grant you Bond of Vigor. And I wonder if this is going to refresh the cooldown of your Bond of Vigor or just give you, like, have it activate immediately. I would guess activate immediately because not everybody is going to have Bond of Vigor. It's from season 4. And then the second ability is upgrades wall launch to charge faster and launch further, right? So you can climb walls easier and more quickly.
Okay, well that's cool because that's the one I care about and probably everyone cares about the most.
I do actually think that Bond of Vigor one might be somewhat game breaking because Bond of Vigor allows you to, when you activate it on Skyscale at least, it allows you to gain more height. It'll refill your entire height meter, and then it also refreshes both of your wall launch charges. But that refresh of the refresh of the height meter means that you could dismount midair, remount, and refresh that height meter immediately. And as soon as it's out, do the same thing, and theoretically climb to the top of any map just by dismounting and remounting because Bond of Vigor activates every time, unless there's an internal cooldown that they're not telling us about.
Bond of Vigor does have a 60-second cooldown, so it might trigger, like, it might count as 2 separate skills, so you could activate one Bond of Vigor in midair, and then you could activate the other if you have it manually at any time you want. So you could probably get 2 out in quick succession if you want to do that. But I imagine that they would also trigger the 60-second cooldown on the Air Rescue.
That would make sense.
As we speak in ArenaNet, there is a dev erecting invisible walls high in every map that you can think of.
They're putting ceilings on everything.
Everything right now.
Oh, interesting. They actually said that I thought there were more in the bonus mastery track. They said that there was an error in the blog post.
Yeah, so the error, I just went and looked right before we started. It was on tier 6, which is leyline acclimation, and it allows flying mounts to use ley lines. In the original blog post, when they said it, the chart in column 1 said leyline, and in the second one, the effect said acclimation, which is just part of the name of the skill, but it was placed in the wrong spot. Yeah, and then the actual effect was put in the bonus column, but it's not actually bonus, that's the core effect.
Interesting. Okay. So we are getting, I guess it is like some significant extra stuff, but yeah, okay. I would like a little hat or something that you can put on the Skyscale, or like as an extra, you know. I am the boss because I did 2 different Skyscale achievement lines, so I get a little hat.
Maybe there'll be a title or something.
You get a
You get
a bad cough.
You get to choke on something.
The peanut came back for vengeance. No.
That was the peanut, was it?
You're gonna get another skin.
It's because it's not a nut and it came back. And it's just like, damn you, Criff, I have a nut. I have a peanut.
You're gonna get another skin, Jebro. You're gonna get a Skyscale skin.
Wait, hold on. Let's finish reading the blog post before we get to that.
Yeah, don't cheat.
What do you mean?
Spoilers.
The image is above the chart that we were talking about, so it's not a spoiler.
That's true. We have talked about it.
That's true. Yeah, it is there.
Right. Okay. Let's just quickly have a look at this as well. Updrafts and ley lines across tier will be compatible with new masteries as well. I think this is very cool. This is like This is, I think, one of the biggest things I'm going to enjoy about the new Skyscale stuff coming in is being able to use those ley lines and whatnot. And
we do see it very briefly in the showcase that came out yesterday or a few days ago. We see very briefly the Skyscale on the ley line moving quick.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's zooming.
He's straight zooming around the skies.
That's good. The folks who do the videos and all the stuff with flying mounts are gonna love that.
But The blog post section continues.
Sure.
We're excited for you to get your hands on the Skyscale's new Fireball skill. It flows well with their other tricks, and it opens up some neat combat options. The new Fireball skill allows you to precisely aim where the projectile will land using your cursor. Similar to the Siege Turtle's passenger's ability to fire projectiles at enemies, this new Fireball skill will not cause a dismount, so you can soar through the skies and take down threats from above, whether they're on the ground or in the air.
That's awesome.
The Cryptists have aerial threats of their own that require your Skyscale skills to take care of. And you'll be able to practice those skills via adventures throughout Boots is Somewhere Screaming,
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure, to ensure you're prepared for any threat the Cryptists bring to you. One of the explorable zones includes a new Skyscale target practice adventure that'll have you racing around and spitting fireballs left and right. After you complete the Flight Training Mastery line and the Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure Skyscale collection, a new collection will open up that awards a Cryptist-themed Skyscale.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
So you are going to have to do the achievement line in order to get the skin, for sure.
Yeah.
Will we have to do it to do the masteries is, I guess, the question.
That skin is gross, and I love it.
It also makes me wonder,
horns.
and I talked about this briefly in one of my recent lore posts. I wonder if the Cryptis skin is because Skyscales like come out of the mists. The original ones were there because Krokotoric messes with the mists, and I wonder if they're appearing in Skywatch and in these new areas because the Cryptis are showing up, and that's what this skin is. It's a Cryptis one, like it's created the same way the Cryptis are.
I just
In
want a
what way do
boss.
you think that they are created?
It's a
Ooh.
good question, but they were born from the mists. I mean, the Cryptis are the mists, according to lore, like swirl and create creatures all the time, and they're often misshapen and disgusting, and we typically just call them demons. So I wonder if the Skyscale are made in, or this Cryptis one specifically is made in that same way, if it's just a weird merge of the Cryptis and the Skyscale in lore, or if it's just a fun skin like a lot of the others are.
I like to think that I've said this before on the podcast, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I see the Cryptus as homunculi, as the kind of like the bone risen army of probably Menzies or Mengus. That's where
Mingus.
my money is. Menzies until proven otherwise.
Right.
I think somebody has said it once.
I think that it's Menzies' army is really an interesting question, right? Because based on lore, he had the Shadow Army. So what does he need these other demons for? He's worked with some demons in the past, like we see in Guild Wars 1 in the Hall of Monuments when he stormed there. But it's like he didn't have an army of demons before. He had an army of shadow creatures. And we know that he still does because we see them in Dragonfall. They're around. We saw them even in Gaiala. Like they're there sneaking around. So I also am a firm believer that the Oni are some of his demons. He's worked with demons before. They are the nightmare demons, and he's got the nightmare army. So I don't know. Allied
with Doom. I think that's where the tangential crossover is. And some of these demons have a very oh my god, why is my brain failing? Six-eyed god of secrets and water.
Abaddon?
Thank you. Brain would not let me say that word. I think that we're going to be getting a sort of like revenge of the gods with some of the fallout and consequences. And I think that these are kind of a risen army or corrupted army. Fingers crossed.
Similar to like the dragons, the way the dragons corrupt and build their army. I see.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just want to fight a boss that's mounted on this Cryptis Skyscale, and then you gotta beat it.
Well, you can do that anywhere.
We talked about the Cryptis for sure in one of the blog posts. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
You gotta, and what form does your beating take?
With a stick and some spells.
Stick. Okay,
There's not a car running them over.
That honestly.
I'd have to go for the house though.
Honestly, roller beetle truck. Skin.
Roller beetle just busting down your wall and breaking your bunk bed.
That is literally. That would be great.
I still can't believe it.
My God.
Jesus.
My God, that is so terrible.
People go through some shit in life, people.
We go through shit.
It's almost as bad as that Skyscale skin. almost.
I actually really. I
don't
mean,
like
it is
it?
very terrifying.
I
I
like it.
will
I think it's
say,
neat.
I will say, this seems to have been a common note on the Cryptus.
Yeah.
Is, they look a little bony. It's reading
I mean, they're
bone
supposed to.
and not flesh. Because
Oh,
they've
that's
always been
interesting.
described as like a fleshy army. I'm getting more bone.
Maybe they want to make a difference between
Or
undead
maybe-
specifically and the cryptus.
Maybe they're just really muscly because they're, we have, in terms of flesh, and we got the muscles and the striations and the patterns, so I can kind of see it, but he's looking a little spiky.
Well, look at the skull, for example. You can see the teeth. Like there is no like.
It's like if
bits.
someone took off the epidermis, just like the outer layer.
Yeah.
So you
But
think
it's
they've all been
white.
peeled?
Yeah, like I needed to be a bit more red for that to fully read.
Maybe you
But-
can use some kind
I
of.
see.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool for necromancers.
I do love that in one of the other blog posts they have an image of a cryptus and they basically put what look like drumsticks in the image. Like they show off the different pieces that
Yeah.
cryptus are made of and they look like chicken drumsticks. Like
We talked about that last week.
it's so spot on. I'm like, really? Like
Yeah. We talked
I
would-
wonder if cryptus meat is going to
Please.
become like a crafting
Oh
component.
my god, why? You all talked about this last week as well. We were
did.
talking about this. Was it you, Forlex? Oh my
It was
god.
me.
Why
That's
would
so
they
was
also
hilarious.
keep
me.
mentioning
I
that they're so
didn't.
meaty? I'm like,
I love.
Come
I
on.
love that people are getting this from the podcast, from the blog post. They're just like, I'm hungry. Like, are we gonna get new cryptus drumsticks for flipping legendary food or something? Like, what?
oh, legendary food. Let's go. It's all cryptus meat.
I would love legendary food, honestly. Like turning you into some kind of thing. God or
You
whatever.
just show up with the expansion with your ticket. I would like one freshly peeled Skyscale, please.
I get the Cryptus
one.
drumstick. You got a 24-piece Cryptus drumstick bucket on
You-
sale.
Oh,
And then in chat says,
gosh.
beware the chicktus. That's good.
I wonder if the
Oh my
Astral
God.
Ward prefer ketchup or ranch.
Oh, it depends.
No, I don't mind the idea of actually having to hunt and skin the demons in order to make the. I'm down with that. They wanted a darker theme. I'm okay with that. It's going to be very bony armor. There isn't a lot
Yeah.
of flesh to be peeling off. There's going to be a lot of teeth.
True. True.
Does anyone know an orthodontist?
How to make your teeth work for you in combat.
Oh my.
But we must prepare for takeoff. The new Skyscale unlock
Hold on.
method and masteries will be available on August 22nd with the initial release of Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure. We'll be back before then with more news about incoming features, and you can pre-purchase anytime before launch. Use my link to start playing the moment the release goes live, in addition to securing pre-purchase rewards like the Demon Hunter title.
Now I see why you wanted to do that
See
paragraph.
you in the skies of Tyria.
This is where I'd put my link if I had one.
Oh my god.
CME Fall says Lord Heisen is a dentist. It's very true.
Wait, Lord Heisen is a dentist?
Yes.
Wow, really? Okay. Well, then,
I didn't know that. Lord Heisen. Why are you keeping that lore from me?
Heisen
I
is
thought we were
like-
friends.
Heisen is ridiculous. Good dude.
If he's
Dr.
not on the
Heisen.
front line,
He's got all
There's something wrong.
He's got all the legendaries, all the variants.
all of it. It's insane. He's one of the few people that has that silly title that I want so bad, but it costs like 80,000 gold.
He did it like really quick as well. Like he did it ages
He did.
ago,
Every
like, months
every
and
time
months
there was a
ago.
yeah.
new set of skins coming out, he was ready for it. I'm
He's
like,
done.
how did you? I mean, I know that he wanted to put out those videos of like that showcase all of them, so it
Yeah.
makes sense. But
But he
Oh,
didn't
man,
just
that's
like
such
click
an investment.
preview or something. It's just like he just got it.
He had to show off his
He got
collection.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
what silly title?
The title is the Facet of Prisms and Boundless Light. It's for getting
wow.
all 6 of the other facet titles, and each facet title is for unlocking all 16 of that Elder Dragon's legendary skins. Right, so like
Wow.
all 16 Jarmag ones is Facet of Ice and Persuasion. Getting all of the titles gets you Facet of Prisms and Boundless Light.
That's actually ridiculous.
I feel like that's
It's a lot.
unlock
It's like
mouse
70
skin.
to 80,000 gold. It's insane.
Oh,
He has a full-time job as well. Like, when he's a dentist, like, I mean, damn.
Maybe he just threw his credit card at it. Honestly,
Yeah.
like,
He's like,
I mean,
I
that's
need
the
more
fastest way to
people.
earn gold.
I don't think
Let
he
me-
did. He always talks about when he's in the chat.
Let me
talks
check if you
about
got
how he farms
cavities.
it. I'm like, what? Would you if you have cavities? I'm just trying to find the new footage. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll be
Guys.
ready for this.
Wild.
What else do we? Is there anything else to go over there? Skyscale is very, very interesting. Excited to see how we will traverse this. We will say, quote unquote, new land. Well, there will be new stuff, but it is a new version of most of it.
I'm excited
really-
for the Skyscale. I'm happy that it's coming to more players of Guild Wars 2. It's a really fun mount to play with and to traverse with. And its previous collection was just such a monumental undertaking and a grind to the point where I literally have blocked it out of my memory and do not remember doing it. And I'm just happy that we're going to get to see more of it. And an in-game skin that we can unlock, which is huge.
That is huge. Yeah, there's only, I think, been one before, and that was a Warclaw skin that you had to pay 200 gold for and then do a whole quest for.
That is right. That is very true. And that hopefully, and with the vault and everything else, like, hopefully there's going to be a lot of skins in there, you know, rather than just a couple.
And I think we got a peek at the vault in the trailer.
We did, for sure, and I want to talk about that when we watch the trailer. But before we go, I want to talk about the fireball skill really quick.
Yeah.
I wonder how, because there's aerial threats and they say that the fireball is ground targeted, I wonder how that's going to work, because if you go and try the turtle like underwater as a passenger and you target an enemy, it will auto target for you. And I want to know if they're going to do that for the fireball here in midair, or if we're still going to have to be manually aiming our cursor on these flying enemies that are zipping around.
I kind
like,
of
are there going to be a
like
lot
to
of
do
players
that.
missing, or
I kind of would like to
Is it
do
gonna
that.
track?
I would prefer to. I would actually prefer to target myself if I could, because then I don't know if it might be difficult tech because it's not really. They've not really got that right. Have they? Or have they?
the self-targeting? No, they do. I mean, turtle already does it
But
underwater.
like underwater. Okay, I don't.
And I mean,
like,
most
things
skills
that
will
fly.
already like auto target enemies, right? If they're running around
Yeah.
or flying around. So I don't think that that's crazy tech that they have to introduce. But it makes me wonder: are we going to have to manually aim? Because a lot of, I think, casual players are not going to have a fun time if they're having to manually aim at enemies that are flying around.
What about the reticule?
Yeah,
Do you
action
think
camera.
that could be?
Oh,
Yeah, the action camera.
It might, that could work for sure, but I think that having to like learn to lead your target might be something that a lot of casual players aren't ready for.
Oh god, yeah. Actually, that's true.
That's what I mean. Like if enemies
Yeah.
are zipping around and you're ground targeted, it's so easy to miss, especially
Get some
midair.
practice in War Thunder, everyone. Trust me, it's a really good game.
Go to Grafmar
Yeah,
and then
I'm
do the
interested
target
to
practice.
see what they mean by aerial enemies and how dynamic they're going to be. If they might just
Right.
be like aerial bombs, so your mount can like. There are certain traps in Path of Fire that if you walk over them, spikes will deal damage and maybe dismount you. So maybe we'll have aerial traps that your mounts can run into, but you can choose to destroy them, and that might be classified as an enemy. But if there are like packs of dynamic events where you actually have to go and fight individual mobs, which gain experience and materials, that might be a little interesting, but could maybe get boring because you just have one ability to use.
Yeah,
Unless
that's
you
another
could-
thing too.
Unless you could like stand on a platform somewhere and like range them as well, but that also eliminates melee builds and melee characters. But yeah, I wonder how extensive this aerial combat is going to be.
I don't think they're gonna.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be that extensive. I think it's gonna be
No.
as you traverse and go from place to place. It'll just be like a thing, and you can probably just avoid it if you go fast. Gotta go fast.
I do think it'll also be interesting because the Skyscale now has this ability and it's ground targeted and we can take out threats from above. I think core Tyria world completion is going to become far easier if you could just fly above heart tasks and dive bomb all of the enemies to get heart progress. It's going to become, I mean, a lot of, I think, previous content is going to change.
That's why I don't really like this. It depends on how powerful this ability is.
Yeah,
and
that's the other thing.
if it keeps mobs in combat, depending on how what your elevation is compared to where they are. Because sometimes mobs will just quickly regain health if they are not leashed onto you, and they're like, "Well, there's no one here." But I'm
That's
a
true.
little worried with some of these masteries.
Yeah, and I think being able to mount the Skyscale in combat is another interesting thing we've never seen before. Like the turtle can be used in combat, but you can't mount it if you're off of your mount and in combat. You cannot get on your turtle. So I wonder if they're going to change that now that Skyscale is able to do it. But that also means that, you know, if players are traversing core Tyria and they're having trouble, just hop on your Skyscale, fly up in the air, and, you know, hit them with some fireballs, I guess. It's kind of a new out that players will have against difficult content. And if enemies on the ground don't have ranged abilities, they may not be able to take out your Skyscale.
Obi in chat just reminded us of the exact kind of wording and said the new fireball skill allows you to precisely aim where the projectile will land.
It does, similar to the turtle,
the ground
but
targeting,
that's the ground targeting.
Yeah,
but if you right, and the turtle does that too, unless you're underwater. If you're underwater and you target an enemy, it auto fires for you to that enemy specifically.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the aerial threats are going to be the same way. If you target something that's in the air, it'll auto fire and track the target, because if it doesn't, aiming or leading your target if they're moving and zipping around might be very difficult for casual players.
Here's how I think. Here's how, if it was a problem that I had to solve as a developer, conceptually, this would be how I would do it. So you would have a learning period with the reticule, with the action for the Skyscale flight stuff. But I would have the Skyscale fire do a very specific thing. So, for example, we've seen a lot of monsters, a lot of cryptus with wings, even in the Ray, even in what I think might be one of the singular encounters in the Strike. I think we might have had a sneak peek of that. And you see these massive wings, and you've seen wings before. So we are in the sky. The sky cryptus arrives. We have to fireball them to get them to the ground, and then we're off our mounts. We're battling them on the ground, and then we get to a break point in the battle. It takes flight again. We're running after them. We're using the fireballs to break a specific type of break bar that's only breakable by the fire of the Skyscale, and then we go on like that. And I think, and then you could have more granular control over it, and there could be restrictions for how you are able to use the Skyscale in other open world maps. So, for example, it only breaks break bars, or it only does a specific thing, or it only puts this magical tick that does the damage that it's needed to do, rather than being this kind of expansive AoE elemental attack, as it were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it causes burning that, you know, does damage over time to bars or something.
It's more controlled, rather than this kind of explosive, bombastic thing that is going to be game breaking. Because I think the devs are probably quite concerned about the flying game breaking thing anyway.
Well, it does say here in the blog post that you can soar through the skies and take down threats from above, whether they're on the ground or in the air. So I think it's going to be something that can kill, you know, everywhere in the game. It's probably going to be about as strong as the turtle fire. Turtle fire might even be stronger still, because you get 5 charges of it with no cooldown. Right? If you have 5 charges, you can fire all 5 instantly on an enemy. And so it's going to depend, I think, on what the cooldown of the fireball is, to see how strong this is going to be in other content. Especially, I do like the idea though of it being able to take out break bars. We see that with the turtle in EOD. Like if you go through the Seitung province meta, there are some cannons with shields, and you can't break those shields very easily unless you use turtles. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of content like that, where they use it in an interesting way beyond just, here's a new attack you can have fun with without getting off your mount.
I like it when it's a tool used to answer a mechanical question, rather than a tool that can be used to just invalidate and kill all enemies. Because I think the Siege Turtle has a good balance at the moment, where you can do some damage if you happen to be on it, but most of the time you tend to feel like you're more powerful just using your own abilities. But because the Siege Turtle is so slow, and it's oftentimes used in very specific scenarios, it fills its niche. But the Skyscale with this, it seems like you're going to be using it all the time, and you're going to be using it as a great momentum tool and a movement tool. And I don't know, I feel like I'm a little worried, based off of the power of the skill, the ammunition charges, and the cooldown of the skill, if we might end up hitting scenarios where players just prefer to stay in the air all the time to A, get over enemies that they don't need to face, and then B, kill all the enemies that they need to face without actually engaging in the beautiful combat of Guild Wars 2. So, and how many Skyscales will be around and the compounding the power of multiple fireballs onto a single target or in a single area. So
I think it'll be a time thing. Like, you know, it's like if you're in the turtle, the chances are you're not doing you're never really going to be doing as much damage to your target as if you're like a DPS on the ground, right? So like,
there was a brief time. There was a brief time after the most recent story release with the new turtle module where you could do more damage as a turtle than you could on the ground. You were pulling 60,000 damage per second. They did fix it. But I do think the nice thing about turtle is that it's limited by the requirement of 2 players. If you want to use those cannons, you need 2 players. Here, you're not going to have that limitation.
So you got two people. Oh, that's very true.
Right, actually. And I wonder how they're going to limit it here, because if they don't, it's going to be very game breaking. So they have to be very careful, I think, with this.
And I think with power creep, the player professions are strong enough to invalidate old content, especially because this mount system is game wide. And maybe in the new zones they've adjusted health bars, but I don't know if they'd go back and adjust all the health bars.
Probably not.
From previous core release and the other expansions. So, and with the other master that you can mount up at any time, it's like, well, are we really respecting? I don't know. I'm kind of like, are we respecting the combat of the game if we're like adding so much versatility with the mount system itself, a system that was supposed to be primarily a traversal mechanic and not a combat mechanic?
I also think that they need to be careful with stat scaling on this. I don't know if you remember when they introduced the like EMP charges in Icebreed Saga, but the throw mine ability that they added with the way stations would scale with your power stat, and it was to the point where you could throw one and do over 2 million damage. Like, it was stronger than a Blade Swarm. What? Full swipe. Yeah, originally they had to nerf it because they didn't take into account the power scaling. So I think they need to be, again, cautious with this, because if it scales with power,
2 million damage,
we're gonna have huge. Yeah, there were ridiculous numbers that you could pull.
That's funny. Sorry, go on for next. Yes.
Oh no. After you, Jeff.
Oh no, this is a different point.
Fine.
It's a different point.
I was going to say that I don't think that these problems are insurmountable. I think that
I agree.
You could overcome these with having a glass cannon type effect with your Skyscale so that they have very little health. So you're having to be very agile and not get attacked. And they could mitigate it with cooldowns of the fireball. How long until the recharge? They could have an overcharge effect whereby if you do it too much, you burn out. You even drop off your mount if you burn up your mount from the inside, because it has to create the fire. So they could have a lore tie-in for this, right?
They could, but the way that they're showcasing this and discussing it, it's, in my mind, why not just make that another engage ability that you could use? Because if your intention is just to fire it off once or twice and then get into combat, it's not much of like a mainstay feature, because we already have a pretty strong engage skill with creating a burning fire field. But this feels like it's so different to that, where I think it's, important to at least consider these possibilities of what it might do to the normal combat flow of the game.
I feel like we're at the crossover between hyping and advertising and new features so that people will put their hands in their pockets to buy the expansion, and the practicalities of the gameplay. And at the moment, I think it's all hype. And look at this, and it's shiny, and it's new, and we're getting this, and it's awesome. And then when we get in, there will be the reality of the situation, which is it's a really cool, interesting feature, but it's more of a surgeon's blade rather than a flamethrower. So I think they're gonna hopefully, to preserve the rest of the game and the fantastic gameplay in Guild Wars 2, they will be very surgical with its use. Fingers crossed.
I have to very quickly keep talking. I have to go and sign for something upstairs, so I will be back. But you keep talking, because I think
better sign, Jebro.
I'm gonna sign for it.
Better take that pen.
Sign your life away.
Scribble on that line.
I am slightly worried because of this new skill that if it doesn't have a long enough cooldown, we're going to end up with a situation where in meta events or in larger open world events that players are just going to sit on their sky scale and drop fireballs and not be participating very much in a lot of these things, and then scale up the metas, and then they're going to take really long. We saw this a bit with the Guyala Delve Part 2 meta, where if you went in and players would just sit there on their turtle and hit once every 4 seconds, it was like they're not really participating, but they're causing the fight to scale to an extreme extent. And then you would sit there for 25 minutes and get the same rewards as if you killed it in 5.
Yeah.
I would have gone in the direction of adding this fireball skill to be that break bar breaking ability. So you could choose, if you're in, by yourself and you don't have another person to man your turtle, that you can go on your sky scale, interact with break bars and destroy them. But that's what I would have done. So I'm a little worried about this particularly.
I want to see if any of the high-end players try and weave the fireball into a DPS rotation where they're out in the open world and DPSing, and then when they have all their stuff on cooldown, they just hop on their sky scale, throw a fireball, and dismount, since you can do that in combat now.
I can see a new series of Boots Bad builds just using the sky scale in weird and interesting and game-breaking ways.
That'd be really
such a fun thing for him. Yeah. He'll be so happy.
I also feel like that would just visually be awkward depending on the cooldown of the sky scale, because once you dismount, I think there's like a 3-second cooldown before you can mount up again or something. I wonder if that's going to be adjusted in combat, or if you could just do a bunch of skills, go on your sky scale, go up, prevent any enemies from dealing or doing any mechanics to you, and then just whittle a boss down that way, which is is that gameplay? Is that gameplay?
Right. If you run into, if you look at enemies like in World versus World, the camp supervisors, if you are 4 feet above them on a box, they can't hit you. So I wonder if there are going to be a lot of enemies like that they weren't necessarily anticipating, but ones that don't have ranged attacks and can't hit your sky scale, and you could just float above them and whittle them down until they are, until they've been taken out. It holds them in combat because you're close enough to them that they want to swing at you, but you're too high up and they can't actually hit you that way.
So how many patches do you think that there will be to Rix? Are we thinking 5, maybe 8, more than 10?
How many patches until they decide maybe this wasn't a good idea?
Patch number 1 is going to be fix to client crash, and then we're gonna get the usual, but I do think they're gonna have to do a lot of adjustments here, and it may fall to the wayside, to be honest, with all of the other things that they're introducing, with the new introduction of relics, which are gonna have to be balanced in their own way, with not even just new weapons, but the new weapon master training, being able to unlock the weapons from elite specs on other elite specs and on the core. Balance is going to change a lot. There's going to be a lot of new DPS builds. In the beta, we saw Sword Warhorn Weaver pulling 50,000 plus on some of these builds. There's going to be a lot of changes that need to be made just by adding these other weapons onto other classes. I think, Herald is going to get a huge buff when it gets Greatsword, because it's kind of lacking a really solid power DPS weapon. But there's just going to have to be a lot of changes all over the place when these new weapons are introduced to the different elite specs. So this may fall to the wayside because they have so many other things to take care of beforehand.
What I am excited about with these upcoming changes to the sky scale have to do with the actual movement of the sky scale and its height meters, and the different ways that you can augment that with, latching onto a wall, charging your wall launch back up, and then your flight meter. Even when the sky scale first came out, it being branded as a flying mount was always really exciting, because we had the Griffin, which was much more of like a speed boost glide type mount. And when I first played the sky scale, I was like, I really like this mount, but it feels as if you descend a bit too quickly. And they never really went back and adjusted that. But with them now adding some more tools, we might be able to stay in the air a little bit longer and use it as a more steadfast flying mount, rather than just flying and you're slowly descending and then you got to recharge your resource and then get back up again. We have the wall launch, but then also updrafts as well, which will help with that. So I'm excited to play the sky scale in a movement bubble.
That's a really good point.
It's the first place I'm going, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, all of Heart of Thorns, given that there's so many updrafts and ley lines, is going to be really fun to explore. I think, especially on Griffin. I want to see how it's going to work with Griffin, because if you can be flying at top speed, hit an updraft, and regain your height, we're gonna have some fun times flying around in all of these older maps and being able to explore them really, really fast.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, that package was huge. Could be a fun thing to show off. There might be also Guild Wars 2 Orient.
Oh, I think I got my package today.
Oh, really?
Really?
You guys get SOTO packages, don't you? I want one so bad. I would love. Oh man.
I'm gonna have to take it up the stairs.
Partner one
coffee.
day. It's just coffee.
Yeah. They gave me a giant coffee machine. I don't even drink coffee.
Do you know?
I bought the Madrinas
No.
one, but I don't drink coffee either.
It's not coffee, technically. Yeah,
It's just
that's
sitting
not
here.
coffee.
I have not opened it. I need to get my sip coffee emote from my email, but it's just sitting here.
It's actually quite nice. It's like 250 calories or something. It's like a lot. What? It's nice though. It's good.
Wow.
It's not really coffee. It's just coffee, kind of.
I'll probably send my actual coffee over to Caffeinated Dad Gaming, because he'll drink it. I won't.
Fair enough. One thing
Y'all might find out what it is soon. TM.
you may find out, depending on whether or not I have enough room to actually build it. Actually, if it is a building thing. Anyway, one thing I wanted to check in with people as well is have we had? Did the last blog post have these clickable words as well? Like the hyperlink words.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did. How
Yeah.
long have they been
Yeah.
doing that? Because I think I noticed it more so in this post and more recently. I don't think they've always done this, have they? Or have they?
They do it every so often. In the announcement ones, I mean, they have links back to their other blog posts. They have links to the other blog posts, but that's usually it. Sometimes it goes to the wiki, but it's typically just to the other blog posts for more information.
Because this does go, like you say, like it kind of just does go to the wiki more now. And I'm like, because I've been asking for that, like more. And I hope they do it during balance patches as well, and they link to the wiki ability.
That would be really nice. Yeah.
I've been asking for that
Best-
for a long time.
Best wiki in gaming, in all of gaming. I stand by that. Best
very
wiki,
good.
best maintained wiki in the
For
world.
real.
Very
It
good.
is phenomenal.
Let's go over the next bit. It is the Secrets of the Obscure Skywatch Archipelago map fly through. We're going to have the music and everything, so you will have to just watch it on the thing, and we'll talk about it afterwards, but take in the sound, the video, the wonderfulness. I have not watched it yet, and I'm saving it for this moment. So live reaction from me on my face. So if you want to see my face, go and watch the video version. There you go. There's the gate at the end. Okay. That's cool. Okay. This is very good. I am actually... So should I tell you what I first thought when I saw the... Actually, maybe we'll go through this bit by bit as well. But like, first of all, reactions to this when you first saw it, like, or if that was the first time, maybe.
Finally, something.
I know.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That was my first reaction. And then I paused every single frame and just dug into everything.
I've done a lot of like breaking down each trailer and really watching and trying to figure out, piece together this map. One, I would love to know where it is on the open world map, because that's important to me. But there's a lot that I feel like they're hiding just behind camera angles here. There's a lot they're not showing, and I love the maps in this game. I just want to break this down super far.
It's like the ley lines and stuff, like bringing them up and then thinking about them being obviously part of the earth more so underground, like all of this stuff brought up into the air and how they mix that into the whole, like, you know, with the mounts and everything else. I think this is really, really good. Like, this generally as a first scene is just very cool, because it looks like all of this is probably in the distance. This is all copied just from base Corteria, right, or wherever. It just looks like a new place.
Yeah, there's stuff from all over.
Yeah, so it's just like, because okay, it's just very cool. I mean, I think the fly through aspect, that the title is a little bit like technically fly through. It looks like a vista, but like, you know, that's, which is kind of what they could have called it, I think. I love the music here as well they've used. This scene is actually probably, as I was watching it, I was like, whoa, this is like really dark. And is this a night scene, or is this like a... Because I think this is going to be...
I think it's a night scene, because we see the same location just before in the background, and it's during the day. So I think that's just a night scene of it.
Can you see... I guess so, you do see those houses, right? Is it exactly the same one?
That's whatever the sky version of Garenhof is, right?
It is, yeah. It's the alternate Garenhof.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
It is. We've seen it in the background of some of the screenshots too, if you have to look real carefully, but it is there. It's definitely Garenhof, and you can see the elementals and stuff. And then if you go forward a little bit, you can see the better shot of as if we were in the water of Garenhof.
Yeah.
It's the same area for sure.
From the dock. Yeah, there. Yeah, that's the dock.
Right, that's it. You're right. Oh yeah, there's the elemental over there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is actually at night, or if whenever you go to the different island clusters, the lighting changes, because this is we also saw this in the initial trailer, and it was the same lighting in a storm, and it seems that this storm is perpetual around Garenhof. So it could be that when you are near it, the lighting changes.
So you're thinking that each environ up there has its own kind of atmosphere and color temperature and weather pattern.
I still would like to see some dynamic environment in terms of lighting when it is day or night, or what that will look like in the Skywatch archipelago. But I wouldn't be surprised if this location in particular is usually darker than the others.
We have seen screenshots of both here and there. They have images of, there's a tower that they don't show off in this trailer. It's just behind, I think, one of the characters. But there's a tower that we've seen both during day and night. So it does exist for sure, the cycle, but I don't know how it's going to affect this area. This could very well be day and just be a perpetual storm. Like you said, we see stuff like that in like Guyala Delve. If you go to the north half of the map, it's always like sunset, and you kind of get that orange sky, and then you go underneath the jade and it's much darker.
Do you guys think that there's a possibility that so this place is in ruins, something bad's happened because of the incursions of the Cryptus, possibly because of Kokotaro and his nommy-noms of the mist. He is very hungry. So do you think that Chumpy, do you think that that our actions could actually have a visible effect on the environment? So we come in, we clear out the Cryptus threat, it becomes nice and sunny, and then they come back, it becomes darkness and that kind. Maybe it's the Cryptus that are triggering these sort of events.
I would personally love that. Yeah. It would re-emphasize the original thesis of dynamic events in Guild Wars 2, where depending on your actions, the environment would change. That has not been the case for dynamic events in Guild Wars 2 since Heart of Thorns.
To some extent, I think we see it in End of Dragons with, like, if you play through the Dragon's End meta, there's certain walls and stuff that you can break down that are then open for the remainder of that map, right, until the map closes. So there's like a little bit of it, but not to the extent that Fornax is talking about, where the weather changes and there's different lighting and such. I think that would be really interesting to see.
And you know what? In Rift, there was. Like you would have like the zone would change. I know I keep bashing on about Rift, but there's a lot of Rift like influence here. I'm sorry, they just did.
Rift was a bloody good game.
It was
a bloody good game.
It was so good.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, Triumph World's got a little bit greedy there, unfortunately, and made some also real pieces of crap.
Press respects in the chat. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. But
it was.
It is. You can still go and play it if you want to play it for free. Maybe we'll make a guild on there. We'll revisit the Lightbringers revisits MMORPGs. What is it like to level up in Rift for 60 hours? No. Okay. I think just generally it looks great. Like, you know,
the assets are clean.
They are. They're very nice. It's good to see the floating towers come back and use that tech again. Like they had similar pieces in core maps. There's some areas along like the branding where you see the floating pieces. It's really interesting, I think, to bring that back.
The thing about this is it the opportunity? Is it an opportunity for them? Like, it's going to be interesting to see the graphical difference. So, because of it being core Tyria, right? So, like, because they're essentially just copying the assets and breaking them apart, and like, there's new effects in there. But like, if
you look really carefully, a lot of them are updated. Like Garenhof is updated. The architecture of these buildings is different. The rooftops are different color. Like there's some differences here. Cool. They're subtle, but there are changes. So I don't think we're going to see a big like graphics, like things that are out of place because the graphics are older. I think they've got updated models for everything.
That's cool.
I mean, also, there's nothing wrong with using. I don't think that they have to invent everything new for every expansion. I think that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of work.
Agreed.
And it cripples our experience because we have to wait for these wonderful people to make all these assets in order for them to make the. If they're allowed and the community embraces, they're going to be reusing assets, then we are going to get more content because they will literally have more bandwidth. So I'm happy. And if they've updated a few of the textures on these original pieces, great. Chef's kiss, perfect. Amazing. I care about story, and I think that the base game looks good enough, especially if you're kind of mixing and matching. You got some new assets, you got some older assets, you put the older assets in the back. You know, no one's looking at those anyway. Let's just move on with the story. I mean,
lightning strikes in the sky have been there since the battle at Shaymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been there.
I'm a basic bitch. Just give me some story, please. That's what I want.
Okay. Fair. We'll shift on to the next bit. Where is this from in Pathfire? Which alleyway? Is this recognizable?
This looks a lot like it's in Crystal Oasis. I'm thinking like there's an area just across from the Temple of Cormier, I think it is, that has a little town. I think it might be from there. It's interesting though because the palm trees and stuff remind me of Tangled Depths, which they show off bits from later in the trailer as well. So I think this is kind of where two parts meet.
Yeah, and I don't think that what we're going to see in the Skywatch Archipelago is going to be a one-to-one copy. But for me, this is definitely Path of Fire. But I got more Ellen Riverlands with this.
Yeah.
You know, it could be there. There's also the area in North Desolation, the town that's there. It could be similar to that.
I was like mixture of Ellen Riverlands, North Desolation area, but obviously Alonian inspired Path of Fire.
Yeah, for sure.
Even see some, I believe, Zaishin in the bottom right with two great swords, which is very interesting. And I also think I saw some forged assets a little bit later on in the trailer. So
yes, yeah, we saw that in the last one as well.
Can we go back like 1 second to the very beginning of this shot with the wizard's hat? There's a baby Skyscale on the left side of the screen.
Oh, the next one, sorry.
Right as it transfers to the wizard's hat.
Okay,
there's a baby Skyscale right there on the bottom, in the left side, right near the middle of the screen.
Am I missing this?
It's just his head right now from what you've got on screen. But it's on the left side there. Oh, he's gone. It pans right past him, but there's a baby Skyscale there.
Yeah. And we currently in-game have Skyscales at Garenhof at the moment. So.
There. Okay.
They be vibing. Skyscales be vibing.
Oh my
They're around. So I
gosh,
do think we're
okay.
going to be raising baby sky scales again. I don't know that we're going to be hatching them, saving them, feeding them medicine, yada yada, like we did in the first collection, because it's going to be streamlined. But I do think we're going to be raising them from littles.
This is cool that they've got these
And
little outposts as well.
the biggest thing, talking about assets, new asset. At least I've never seen this one before.
Yeah, this wizard's hat is nowhere to be found in the rest of the game.
This big old tent, which actually fits into the Alonian aesthetic quite well with the gold. I guess the
does
starry,
actually.
but even the starry night is very reminiscent to the night skybox.
Not
in
just
the
the night
desert.
skybox, but like the astrolarium, which is
Yeah.
in Stan. So
Absolutely.
Is
Is that
very
actually
beautiful.
a wizard's hat?
I didn't get a hat.
I don't know if it's a hat, but it sure looks like
You
one.
haven't got a hat?
I didn't read hat from this, but
Oh.
I like the tent vibes.
Oh, you don't
Could
get
be
a
a
hat
hat.
from that? Oh, I kind of. I see what you mean.
I see it. I know
Triangular,
it's a tent, but, like-
angulish.
It's fishy in my. It looks fishy to me. It's like a.
Maybe there's some there's more to than meets the
Guild
eye.
Wars 2 Rorschach test, right? here.
Yeah.
What do you
Wait, wait,
see?
wait.
What do you see? And then pause and you'll see a gin. A little bit back. And then the
Ooh.
forge on the right
Oh, okay.
with a sword.
Oh
and
yeah,
a sword.
there it is.
Oh.
Little gin, fire gin. But of course,
Right up against the head of building.
we are in the Alonian region, so the idea of a potential seer like Isgaren in the Wizard's Tower could still definitely be there because we see a lot of asset reuse depending on the region, and that includes enemy types and/or ally types. So this gin is just very fitting of
Isn't
the
it
Alonian
interesting
area.
though that this is how they've decided to do the first expansion, and it really does feed into the time that they have to do this and doing this in the future. I think this is helping them to really just pack in a lot of work for future expansions as well by reusing all of this, so they can just like go ham on later. They said they're on where they've already planned the one, not after this, but the one after that, right? They've already
The quarter
started planning
update
that.
content.
Yeah.
No, expansion.
They've said that they want to make more
They're, like, two
expansions.
ahead.
So I mean, I would assume that they're at least working on expansion 5 already. I don't know if they're going all the way to 6 yet,
Yeah.
but
No,
Or at
they've
least
started
planning it out. Yeah, just at
Yeah.
least like getting the blueprint of like where they want to go, maybe what the story might be.
I think that's definitely good with getting that overarching story and being able to tie things together. So I hope that they're doing a good job of planning that well in advance, so that way they can tie all the loose ends together.
because if you think about it in terms of testing and it being released, like Elder Scrolls Online wise, they've been releasing one every year for ages, for as long as I remember, and it's like they're already like 2 ahead or something stupid, like in terms of depth time and like testing and everything else. Like they're well away on all of this, so and this is exciting.
Especially now they're going to be more like ESO, more self-contained stories
Absolutely.
with bridging narratives heading into.
Which I
one of
really
them.
like.
Yeah, me too.
I really appreciate self-contained stories because it allows brand new players to join the game and not have to worry about playing 11 years worth of story content to get caught up. They can jump right in and go, oh, these characters are just for this storyline, and not have to worry about all of the previous
literally
like,
why-
oh, well,
yeah.
back then we killed this dragon and then we did this one. And yeah,
That's
none of
why
that.
ESO does that, because you can just go to any, you can buy a new expansion, and that's why one Tamriel exists, because you can just be level 1 and play in any map, at all, in any story. It's really smart, honestly. It's really
Honestly, oh, gone. I saw you liking
Fornex,
up.
go! Fornex, your turn.
Go for next.
Sorry, I was going to
Fornex.
say I think Guild Wars 2 is one of the best games for being casual friendly. You can step away from the game and then you can come back. You're not going to have to go and grind a load of armor, level up so that you can do the latest piece of content. It's kind of like a safe space. You got your kit. You can step away. You can come back. There's no fees. There's no anything. I think it's one of the games that respects your time most and is most casual friendly. So
Emerge is
Sorry,
definitely going more that way, I think. I think Elder Scrolls is good for that as well. Guild Wars 2, definitely. Guild Wars, I think you do still have to play that order though, right? So it's kind of like you don't miss out, and you can just put it down. You don't really have to grind, but you just got to play. You've kind of got to grind the story. It's really just the grinding the story, but that's understandable, right? For how long it's been out for. But you can't really. I mean, I guess you can to a degree start wherever you want, because you just get the character boost, right? So I guess technically you can do that, but like Astral Legend said as well, like, you know, you can kind of just jump into this if you wanted to, I suppose.
You can. You don't have to. You don't even have to play through the personal story either. As long as you've got all the expansions open, you can just start at the start of a chapter and you're off to the races. And the game just pretends like you've done all the other stuff. So.
Fair. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of...
And in the background of this shot, we might see a forged or some.
It definitely
forged.
looks like a couple in the background, yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
Which
walking down the tunnel. Yeah.
does make me wonder how we're going to interact with the Forge. If they're going to be enemies, are they going to be allies?
Oh, I think they're enemies, right?
I think they're going to be enemies, and I think
definitely be enemies, but like without the influence of Balthazar, what are the story implications of enemies also being reflected in the Skywatch archipelago? How does that work?
I think that there's a couple scenarios I can think of. One being that when these areas were like cloned into Skywatch Archipelago, they just kind of took a snapshot, and so we've got, you know, forged villains that are just villains because that's what they were when they were snatched from their area. The other idea with Forged specifically is if it is Menzies coming back, he could have just taken control over that army.
That's true. I like that. I would much rather have new lore or a new reason as to why we have Forged here and any other enemies, rather than just, oh, it was a snapshot and these were the enemies in the region, because that would feel very flat and feel like
still the idea now, going for like a wild thing here, is it still the idea this is kind of our existence, or is there a whole idea of it being like a multiverse kind of?
Not a multiverse.
They said it's alternate universe reflections is what they called it. So
there you go.
Where?
Potentially on SOTO's main website, there's on the SOTO main website, there's one of the screenshots. If you click on it, it pulls up additional information, and that's where it puts it. So alternate universe reflections is the term that they used on their website, but so I don't know if it's meant to be a literal multiverse type situation, or if I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work.
If you think about it in that way, Proof actually could have a good point, because if you think about it, these could be allies if that's the case.
And I don't think they're afraid to do that, because we saw that in season 4 with the Awakened. When Joko passed away, there was the Free Awakened, and they became allies. You know, I don't think they're afraid to take those previous enemies and say, hey, in lore now they're allies. So,
and you know, the opposite could be true for Path of Fire, and like they could be enemies. You know, having that play around with all of that, I think would be very cool. Honestly, I think that'd be sick. Imagine allying with the baddies against the goodies.
But I don't personally read this as alternate timeline, because this is still within Tyria. It's not.
Yeah, but it's a multiverse,
a fracture,
not timeline.
Or another multiverse. I don't think this is going to necessarily be a multiverse story, and I don't know if I'd actually like that as like the starting point for this new era of Guild Wars 2.
But there is multiverse, lore already in game. It's been there for a really long time. It's the idea that each different server, like Blackgate, Tarnished Coast, you know, JC, whatever, those are all different versions of Tyria. They're alternate universe versions within the Mist, correct? Yeah. So there are already these alternate universes.
This is still going to be in the skies of Tyria. So just mixing those two landscapes into the world of Tyria, from a lore perspective, I think would just get really muddy. And
it might. This is heavily involved with the Mist, though.
Yeah, I think it makes
has
more
to do
sense,
with the Mists, but is this about bringing the Mists into Tyria, or is it a matter of the Mists being a vehicle for our enemies to get to us?
That's a good
question.
Those are
the way they've described it has been
more the latter.
So
the thing is, though, that we don't know the first principle, so we don't know what the Mists are. We've got ideas about their effect.
That's true.
But we don't really know what they are, so we cannot prescribe intention to the raising of these things without kind of knowing the initial state, right? So it makes me concerned. This is why I want to know the cosmology. This is why I want to know the Carl Sagan of it, not the magical mummy story we got, which was very sweet and very nice, and it was all great. But how does the mechanism work? And I want to know, for example, so we have all these mist incursions. We've got them in Bastion of the Penitent. We've got them in Gaella Dells. You see that the plane of fabric between our reality and or what we are interpreting as that field of stars that is the Mist.
I like how
What
basically
is actually happening?
I like how basically Vornax is almost getting towards the meaning of life questions in Guild Wars 2 and 2.
I'd love to see the mists properly mapped out, at least to some extent, right? Because we can see, I mean, sort of a 2D version of it if you go to the PvP lobby, or if you go to, I mean, the PvP lobby actually gives you the best look, because you can see the PvP islands and the World vs. World ones, where in World vs. World you only see those ones.
Wouldn't that destroy the mystique of it, though? No pun intended.
To some extent. I mean, I think that you can show off more of it than they have, you know, like there are so many different realms, and it's either you can portal between them or they're close together, as we see like in Dragonfall when Kralkatorrik is flying through. He flies over multiple god realms, you know, one after the other, and it looks like a portal between each, but you know, maybe they're just, you know, bumping up against one another. Is there a line where they are divided in like a weird mist layer between them that he was flying through, or was it actually a portal between the two areas? There's a lot of different things we don't see well, but they talk about, like the rift. The rift is at the center of the mists, and in order to cross from one world to the other, you have to travel through the rift, and at the center of that is Hall of Heroes. But so there's a lot that they've talked about and they've kind of hinted at, but they've never given us good detail or a proper mapping of some of these things. They always just obscure all of it.
I guess sometimes I think about the mists as being also just the same places existing in the same space, but not the same time. Like not time, but like, you know, universe,
dimension.
Right? Yeah, so like dimension. So like a more of a dimension idea. Very good. That's a much better word. So like when someone's getting a portal from one place to the other, they're just in the same place, and they're just portaling to that place in the other dimension, kind of thing. I guess that's I guess that's kind of the way sometimes I think about it sometimes as well, especially when you think about like World v World and stuff, I guess, to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, World vs. World implies that there are locations where these sections of the mist crash with one another. That's the literal idea of the borderlands. It's where the two different versions of Tyria border each other, and we're fighting over resources for our version of Tyria. So I wonder how far they can go with that. They've also mentioned that the idea of the multiverse within Tyria is not infinite. Like there are, everything that could happen did, but not everything can happen. There's no universe where Snaf lived, was what they said. So like there's so many versions of Tyria, like, but not everything you can think of happens.
There's no universe where Tibalt lives?
It's a canon event, I'm afraid.
That's so no.
Oh, it's like one of those fixed points in time, like
it's a fixed point in time.
Oh wow!
No, you can't break that. Oh no! That actually makes me kind of sad. But I think I already knew that because I'm a nerd, and that's how all of this shit works. Although just break it. Okay, I'm sad now. Let's.
Can I ask Astral a question?
What's up?
So sorry, we're derailing with lore, and we should do a lore podcast together at some point.
We should. That'd be so fun.
Absolutely should. For sure.
So, when I want to know where our realm starts and where the mist begins. So, when you look up at a Tyrian sky, are we seeing our little bubble universe, or are we actually looking at other planar realms? And are those points of light? Are they stars? Are they planets? Are they magical ether? I mean, what do you think?
That's a really hard question, because it's a similar question you could ask for like any other comic book type thing where they have a multiverse, right? Like, are you looking at alternate Earths, or are you looking at the stars within your universe, and your universe expands quote unquote infinitely, and then there's an alternate like dimension level where there's multiverse, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's more that sense that there is, it's a higher dimension level that you have to go in order to see multiple versions of Tyria. If you are in the third dimension and in Tyria, you're on one single Tyria. How we travel through portals of the mists is a whole other question, but it's got to be some sort of alternate dimension type of tech.
So do you think that they could marry in the kind of the ascension that we had in the original games, so that we could see them as that we will have this ascension in order, because there's the cryptus being here and us not being able to perceive them? So do you think that is, we're going to have another awakening, our third eye opened again to kind of perceive them?
I don't think that they're going to do that here, but I think that to some extent they could. I think that the way they're going about it is that they're just coming out of the mists, and we're not going to have to do something special in order to see them. They're just available to us, basically.
Okay, sorry, nerdy stuff over.
No,
You can carry on now with your
nerdy
podcast.
stuff.
It's fine.
Nerdy stuff over on a podcast about a video game, an MMORPG, when we range through like it. Yeah, let's just
fine.
stop the nerdiness, shall we? Okay, we do
It's
have to go
just
through the
too
rest of the trailer though. This area here, what is this? Where is this? Is this the area? Is this the PvP training grounds? No, it's not, is it? The old one?
No, I don't think so. These ruins,
This one is
I
a little
think
abstract.
it is. It could be like ruins from Ascalon. It could be from Kryta. It's really hard to say. It's so vague.
It kind of reminds me of some of the Sparkfly Fen ruins.
Oh,
At
yeah.
least where that mastery point, where that
Yeah, I
mastery
can see that
point
for
is
sure.
At, but it also could read a little Kaineng-ish.
Yeah, in the northeast.
I don't think it's Kaining. I just looking at the bricks that are there and the color and texture of
The
them. I think
trees,
you're
isn't it,
probably
as
right.
well?
It's Sparkfly. I think that it's those ones ripped from like the northwestern portion of Sparkfly.
And also, isn't there an opportunity for them to show us just new parts of? If we're thinking about the multiverse and all that kind of stuff, it could just be new mini areas we've just never seen that have just grown differently, maybe, or adjusted in different. Because we do see that with us, obviously, you know, the town. And
You
whatnot at the
heard
beginning.
it here first. This is the Dominion of Winds right here on your screen.
That's it.
Right now.
This is
That's
all
it.
the Dominion of Winds is. You've been asking for it for years.
Yeah.
It's just ruins.
It's just
Damn.
like a few buildings, and that's it. They're just that's what they're guarding. That mastery point.
Can I point out?
It's worth it.
Can I point out, by the way, that it looks like we have some sort of equivalent of a new Kayang in the background. So this
Yeah.
could well
Do.
be the watered or a portion of the old city that's in ruin. Maybe.
I don't think so,
but look up
because
look up
the
top and
textures of
the
the
back.
brick in New Kaining are different. Like if you go to the old Kaining currently in game, I think the textures are different from the ruins here.
that is
But
different.
also the MOAs kind of give it away. There aren't any MOAs in old Kaining currently in
Didn't see
game.
them.
Yeah.
There's a couple of
Right.
MOAs
Right.
wandering around, and I think that they're more of a Corteria type of thing.
And also,
No, I
there
stand
is
corrected.
if we're thinking about proximity and stuff, there's literal ice behind this as well.
I wonder what the importance of
Now,
this area
I want to know what that
is.
is because I'm not necessarily convinced that it's ice, and the way it's floating is really strange. They haven't shown that off very well.
I think
It's in the background of
ice.
some shots,
Doesn't it
but
look
they
like
don't.
I get
I'm not sure.
ice. I got ice first, but I also could get very strange water.
I think if you see at the top
Yeah.
though,
Some type of water.
at the top there's like, I don't know. I think there's like, it feels like
It's
there's
very
ice
high
there.
up. Yeah, it's very high up. So I wonder. I mean, they're really trying to avoid showing it. It seems like they're showing us stuff that's lower to the ground, and we see it in the background of a handful of things, but we never actually get to see it, from what I can tell in this
There's a lot
trailer.
of bergs up in the northern areas, right? So that's what's
Yeah, it could be like the Icebird Saga type section that they want to get into the
that
map.
actually could be the Iceberg Saga stuff. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, next gonna jump to the next bit. Is this South Sun Cove? No, it's
This is Tangled Depths. This is the
Tangled Depths,
Chalk in
right.
Tangled
Yeah.
Depths.
Okay.
This is Ogre Lane.
Isn't that interesting? Then
The chalk are
That's
back.
gonna be
The ley lines are back.
in the open.
You thought Tangled Depths was bad? Welcome to Tangled Depths 2.
In the sky.
But yeah, but it's open. It's open, so it's going to be more.
Yeah, I don't
Which
think
is
it's going to be
very cool.
nearly as in depth as Tangled Depths was. Not all the
No,
tunnels.
no,
You're
no,
not gonna get lost in this. It's just an area with chalk.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though.
But
Awesome.
there is still an interesting reason as to maybe the chalk being here in terms of ley line consumption and how they interact with the ley lines.
That's
Very-
true. I hadn't
very
really thought about
interesting
that. Yeah, because chalk do eat ley energy, so it'll be interesting. There is right in the center of the screen there a like a ley energy collector, which we see during the Tangled Depths meta. But what's interesting is we don't see those in Ogre Lane, which is what this seems to represent with the chalk eggs and such. Those energy collectors are in like the Rotanovis lane and are used to power up the old golem there. So I wonder why that's sitting there. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
This interesting. Yeah, like it looks like a. Huh. It is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next bit. I like that.
I mean, maybe it's just another example of the collapse of at least the adjacent Mistral because of Krakatoa. He did do a huge
Yeah.
amount of damage.
These areas are also weird like they're not one-to-one. They're very mismatched. Like the location that we see for New Kaining doesn't exist in New Kaining, you know, in the actual world. So they're just taking assets, I think, from these other areas and building new areas, but they don't directly represent the areas down below.
Do you think this is the case
No,
then
yeah,
with the
I
next
don't-
section as well? Like this is just kind of
This,
Yeah.
this is like meant to be the Oric Basin section, like the falls, but it's not.
it's not fully
In the
formed.
top left corner, you see another bit of like exalted architecture there, sticking up,
Yeah.
but there's not any place that's exactly like this. And when they introduced the very first like announcement trailer, they show off 3 different areas with rifts, and I put up my own YouTube video of like, where is this, because you can't find it, the New Kaining section. What's interesting is actually, I just noticed, since we were breaking this down almost frame by frame here, later on when they show New Kaining, you can see the area from
I got
the
boots on
original
that
trailer.
He sent me 12 gold and called me smelly for that.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Did he send
remember
it?
we had our
oh, yeah,
we
last
had our
week.
whole like debate. He was
That's
like,
right.
"That's New Kaining." I was like, "That's not. It's not New Kaining."
It's not New
Bruce."
Kaining. It's not. It doesn't
And
exist.
he got in game and he went and checked. Then he sent me 12 gold.
That's right. That's right. That was good.
So since you've broken it or paused it right here in New Kaining, there's in the bottom left of this shot, you've got it paused on. There's a weird like golden blue wizard orb, and I have no idea what it is, but I would love to know. That really interests me. And the other thing that interests me is in the bottom right, the Jade Bot charger, which implies we're going to see some sort of play with the Jade Bots in this expansion. I don't think it's going to be part of the story. I don't think they're going to give you one, but I think it'd be interesting to introduce new Jade Bot modules
Is
and
it a Jade Bot
maybe add some
charger?
zipline. Yeah, that's a battery charger for sure. It's not like the little batteries that you see around, but those ones you see in the labs in New Kaining.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not something
They
we're saying
could.
for sure.
It could just be an asset that they reuse, but I think
very
it'd be
well
nice
could
to
be.
introduce it again so that you can have some of that longevity with the Jade Bot as a mastery
I
system.
agree,
Just as
especially if like they just add zip lines through the New Kaining section. I think that'd be fine. At least gives it a little bit more flavor to make it feel like the actual New Kaining.
This is really cool. This is waterfall, this holographic waterfall thing, or is it a monument? I don't know which one it is, but it feels like
I'm not sure.
it looks so good. I could really like that, the holographic technology they've got there.
This shot and this whole entire setup reminds me of the promotional splash art of End of Dragons when we have Rama,
Oh,
Yao,
yeah.
and the golem kind of like in that
Oh,
little arena in the
yeah.
background. So I was wondering, I was like, did they take inspiration from that concept art layout and then
This
just kind of like
looks-
take it into game?
This looks
Maybe.
darker than New Kaining as well. Not literally like the sky, but like this looks a little bit more like a lot more industrialized Kaining, if that makes sense, like factories and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's definitely
Legit.
not the same New Kaining that we see before. Like it's very different the way they've restructured this. I don't even know if we see that green floor anywhere in New Kaining. I can't
Or that
really picture
angular
anywhere.
bit there. I don't know if we see that either. Like, do we?
No.
Or the cabling.
There seems to be
like,
there's a lot more
of
cabling too. Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it's cleaner,
this-
isn't it?
Area kind of reminds me of the southern area of New Kaining City, where most people don't usually go, where it's much more industrial. But there are a couple assets that didn't really see a lot of use in End of Dragons, which kind of show off and are
See,
showcased
this is
here.
why it's making me think same area but different dimension.
I'm not
Yeah, I
getting
mean
different.
the Garenhof is different too. We talked about before, like even the building's architecture is different from normal Garenhof. So it's not a ripped 1-to-1 for sure. Like they said, I mean they describe it as alternate
That's-
universe. So I don't know exactly how they're gonna play that into the story, but I hope that it's really interesting and they give good explanations for it.
Yeah, I'm not going in with any expectation of multiverse or different
Griffiths
timeline.
just doesn't like it. You just don't like it, do you? Just don't like my
I
old
actually
fascists.
don't like multiverse storylines. I think it. I actually
The
really
bias.
don't.
There it
For
is.
me
The
personally, I
biases
think
exist.
it rips out, especially when you mix Tyria and the Mists
Yeah.
too much. I think it rips out any sense of permanence or consequence with whatever you do in that story. Because of course we can always think about like, what if this happened?
dangerous.
But for me, I think when authors or any writing starts to explore that, it
Yeah.
no longer becomes a sense of my imagination. It becomes a sense of canon, which is like, oh, you don't need to do that. Just let us think about it. But that's why I think I'm very interested as to why this has been mimicked, not flipped 1-to-1, but in terms of like the assets mimicked and changed. So I have no.
Different dimension.
But a different dimension also could be like a flipped version where it's like 1-to-1, because dimension could just mean like how people act or the storylines that are within those realms, not necessarily the actual architecture or structure. But because so much has changed, I'm like, then why is it? I'm left with more questions, and I'm not really wanting to answer them.
I like that. I don't. This is the thing. I don't care what they. I want them to show us stuff. I don't necessarily need to know the answers.
Yeah.
I think.
Plus, we have that giant Balthazar sword, which has in no area of Alona was there like
in my inventory. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's in my inventory.
Yeah, that weapon is very cool. Okay, we're gonna keep going through, but yeah, it is just look how much, and this is just a fine example of how much content can get created around a 1-minute trailer. And it's just very sad that this is not like daily. We're not getting this shit. Like next week should be daily. Bang, 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 bang. Give us something every day, at least. Like I would say even 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Just posting different things every day. Like the hype, keep it going. And just like give me more. Okay, what's the next bit? I really like this shot. Actually,
I love this next bit.
Okay. Oh yeah, but is this a closer up thing of the thing you were talking about, Astro?
No, so I think this might be the Wizards version of a waypoint, right? Because just like so waypoints originally are made by Asura, so it's potential that Zoja could have made them for the Wizards, and we just have normal waypoints. But I have no idea what this is, to be honest. Like my closest guess is a waypoint. I
think it's a waypoint due to the sparkle effect at the very bottom and the way that it falls. I think you oftentimes see that with waypoints. Cool. So my guess was waypoint.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. What's interesting here too is in the bottom right, we also see like the Naga looking tent kind of on the ground there. And that
rift is.
That's what gave it away exactly, Kroof. That's where the rift is in the original trailer that they showed off. There's a rift right next to that Naga tent.
Oh, okay.
And that Naga tent is nowhere in New Kaining. I hunted it. It's not there. They were showing off this, and then we jump straight to Wizard's Tower after that.
This is the best. This is the best part. Like one of the best parts. What many.
This place is so good.
Such a cool shot.
Look at this place. Reminds me of World of Warcraft expansion. When they go to not the latest one, but the one before. What's it called?
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands. Yeah. When you start in the first area. It's got that similar. I can't remember what it's called, but they're all kind of magicians and like yeah. If you go and have a look at some of the architecture, there it looks very similar. But it just
you're thinking of Dalaran. You're thinking of Dalaran.
No, I don't
maybe
think so.
Legion.
No. It's Shadowlands. Yeah,
I got more Dalaran vibes, but to each their own.
I mean, I don't know. I'll try and pull it up and link it. But anyway, either way.
But I love this. It shows off vendors. And the Mystic Forge and potential crafting areas.
Do you think that's the
more centralized?
That is the Mystic Forge, is it? Oh yeah, because what's the name standing right there?
Yeah, it's Miyani. Yeah. They've got the different merchants and the Mystic Forge right away. The golems are really interesting because we've seen them before. They were Abaddon servants. Yeah, in season 3, episode 6, at the very end, and they're called Keepers of Secrets. Which
that makes sense.
Is very fitting. But it's interesting that they're Abaddon related as far as we are aware, at least. The only difference with these ones and the previous is the color of the eyes. When they were protecting Abaddon's secrets, they had red eyes, and here they have gold eyes. So I wonder if they've been reprogrammed. Yeah.
Gosh, I wonder if this place could have been set up by the gods as they arrived in Tyria.
That would certainly be interesting, but I want to say this predates the gods appearing. Maybe I don't remember. I'd have to look up the timeline again of when
find out
when they implied this appeared and when the gods appeared.
Oh God, no!
I am willing to put my mouth where my money.
You might be right. I don't know for sure. I think it might be possible that the Wizards outdate or predate the the gods appearing, which could make some sense. Although now that I'm thinking about it further, I think they said the wizard's been around for centuries, not millennia. And I'm guessing that the first one was, what's his name? The guy they called Lord of Wizards, who opened the first portals to the mists. Odran, I think his name was. And he was around in like 250 years before Guild Wars 1. So that would definitely be way after the gods.
Yeah.
Like in chat, people are just like, I want this as my new golem skin for my mech. Yes, I would agree with
Yes.
you. 100%.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
That'd be really cool.
Or
Adding mech
as,
skins
like, an
would be nice.
Earth elemental skin that you could summon.
Yeah.
Really just
that'd be cool.
overhaul that elite elemental skill. So the one that you summon is a bit more unique.
All of them, like, give us skins for them, please. That would be so
Yeah.
cool. It is a very cool area. I think in terms of, as I look at it, it reminds me of Arbostone, like the levels.
This is a player hub of, where everyone's probably going to be centralized.
It is.
Yeah,
There's
the
a
levels
portal
and stuff,
scroll
right?
to it.
They mentioned that it's going to be a player hub type area. It's not an explorable zone with enemies. We do see later, just at the end of this, that there's fishing there, so that's kind of cool. I know they said that there's going to be new fish. They mentioned it in one sentence in one of the blog posts.
Cool.
So I'm sure there's going to be a new collection for that. But there's got to be more than just the one fishing hole, I would think.
One thing I am worried about with this aesthetic is the actual visual diversity of the NPCs in the area, because everyone is wearing pointy hats and the same
It is
outfits.
pointy hat central. that was just what I was thinking.
That's the one critique that I've seen, is that
many
there's
pointy
maybe
hats.
a little overuse of showcasing a diverse NPC population within this. And I get it, they're wizards, but does everyone have to wear a pointy hat?
If you
I don't
think
know.
about
What's
a
the uniform?
and
What's
a
the
score,
uniform?
though, like if it's a uniform, like they could be, this is their idea of order. And I guess if you think about different
But
civilizations
also-
and cultures, you think about their dress. Like this is a
But
very
but
formal,
some people are not wearing hats. Some people
Yeah,
are not.
true.
So just in terms of just population and density and diversifying
be
certain
wizards,
NPCs. But
guess so.
still,
Could be a
even
mark
if
of
they
authority or status to
Could
be
be.
able to wear the hat.
That's true. Yeah.
And
It just seems
But
like
it
there's
looks
a
like
lot.
I don't know if the hats are a status thing. I think they'd be low status because there's wizards there that all have pointy hats in the training area, or what looks like a training area just before this shot here, Jebro.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there's what appears to be a training section.
Oh yeah, the target dummies.
Which
Right, the
I
target
was
dummies behind them.
over the moon. I'm so excited
I
at the
saw your
idea that we
tweet,
actually
yeah.
get to attack things, and like while we are lounging, we can practice a rotation or like help out a friend or
Now
something.
your assumption is that they're interactable.
Yes, because if they're not, those are unique. I've never seen those training dummies before. They look new.
I'm pretty sure that they're around.
I think they're in the first. I think they're in Kessig's Hills when you use the firing, the
Where
rifle.
they look different. I
You mean
looked at a lot of training
there's
dummies.
one in Queensdale, I think, that has the training dummies there. Where there's a hard
sniper
task where you
ones?
take rifles. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
And then
Yeah.
I want to say we also see them. I feel like there's somewhere else that we see them.
Maybe that
remember.
model specifically, I guess, isn't this exactly the same. I don't know.
They look.
I don't think that it's new.
They look kind of.
The targets are not new, but the actual dummies themselves, they look thicker. They look maybe retextured.
They look meatier.
Yeah, the other ones, they look a little bit more low resolution.
Sorry.
It's because they're
The,
wizards.
well, the old training dummies look rather low resolution in terms of, because they were never like a mainstay. You never actually had to interact
Okay,
with them. And
yeah.
I think because with the assumption that you could interact with them, I think giving them a little bit of a fresh coat of paint, something looks a little different to them.
Proof they're not wearing wizards hats, that's for sure.
That's got to
Yeah.
be it. That must be the
But I will
issue.
shout out the Norn that is currently
Yeah,
channeling a spell. He's not wearing a hat. Thank you. Thank you.
But he has a lovely dress, so he's looking rather
Yes.
rather
Does he have an
fetching.
ascended staff skin?
Yeah, I think they're all wearing.
I think that's the one.
Quite a
from-
few
Doesn't
are
that
using
look
ascended
like
ones.
the one we got from recently from one of the boxes?
No, they're
It
ascended.
looks like the standard ascended, just with a weird color. I can't quite tell what color it's supposed to be. But
There's quite a few. There's also someone wearing a shield,
yeah.
but it's the normal ascended model, but white.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah.
And
I
then
see.
there we saw the fishing very briefly, and they said that there were going to be new fish. I also think it's interesting when they show off the shops, the one shopkeeper that they have a close up on has like tridents hanging out
that's
next
cool.
to him, which makes me wonder if it's not actually a merchant, if it's a master artificer.
Okay.
And because he also has staffs, so it's probably an art, like a crafting station with the master there.
Yeah,
for
right
sales.
next to the
Nice.
forge as well. I think.
Right,
there's
exactly.
crafting
It's right next to the forge,
areas.
so I bet that's what all of these are. Because there's multiple merchants set up like in a row, so it's probably just crafting stations.
They do visual storytelling so well. They really do. The attention to
do.
detail is always brilliant.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to start winding down a little bit here. I mean, generally, and we can see there's another area in here. Looks lovely. And the fishing, as you say, new fish, beautiful. Otherwise, I think this was a really sick little trailer.
Yeah, the only other two things that I want to point out are the Wizard's Vault that they briefly show off,
Oh, wait.
where they show the weird rewards like sitting on the table. There's a sunrise sitting there. There's a legendary greatsword sitting on the table, and I'm like, there's no way that's going to be a vault reward, right?
Oh, okay, here, right. Sorry,
right there.
obviously, yeah.
In the bottom
yeah,
right,
yeah,
there's Black Lion weapon skins right there. There's like the golden wing sword skin, and then there's sunrise right next to it. So I'm like, there's no way they're going to give us legendaries though, right? I know they mentioned mount skins, but legendaries feels like a whole other level above that,
Yeah,
right?
no, I don't think they'd give us unless they just sold a skin and not the actual legendary function.
I don't think I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose it's possible, but
No, I don't think that they would be selling us legendary items through the
Or it's
Wizard's Vault.
maybe it's a precursor to no.
I think these are just
That's a
going to
full
be
legendary right
assets
there.
Yeah.
that are displayed within the Wizard's Vault, just to kind of, show
just
the
teasing us with them.
prestige,
What if you
Yeah.
the
could buy, like,
prestige of some of the items.
what if you could buy like a lesser version of the legendary though? That was just the actual skin and not the effect. People, I guess, would
I don't know if I
people
like that. Yeah, I think that they're tied together really heavily, and I don't think I like separating the skin too much. I mean, I know that you can to some extent do that. Like you can take a previous one and transmute it into a legendary skin, but I don't like that personally.
I would make a video just reading comments in the official forums if that happened.
Oh no
Just
no
that
no!
one
I'm,
entire
I'm not
video.
saying the exact. I'm not saying what Kruf said. I'm saying not the exact one, but like just the similar sword. None of the effects. Like it was just like the sword, and it just.
This
was
is just
like
a thirst trap. This
Well,
is a thirst trap, people.
honestly,
Look
I
at the
think that would,
sword. Look what you could have won.
yeah.
Oh, sad day for you. You're not getting.
What if
I wonder why
Hey,
move on
I'm
with
looking
your
for engagement on this video,
Place
okay?
a
I'm looking for
legendary.
engagement. So like
What
you
if
know,
it's a knockoff
this is
version?
what-
Like there's the fiery dragon sword in Guild Wars 1 that drops all the time,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
and it's meant to look like Sahathan, but it's not actually Sahathan.
exactly. That's it. Yeah.
I have that.
I still don't like
That's
that.
him.
Yeah,
That's true.
I don't like it, but like it
Alright,
could
we
be
know
the
what
case.
two people just really don't like in here. Like, Kruf doesn't like dimensions at all, or the multiverse, and Astro Legend doesn't like fun.
2,000 my legendaries. Okay,
I'm
I have like
fine
60
with
legendaries.
different
Don't value-
dimensions, but multiverses, they grate me.
It's because of Marvel.
Rub me
isn't
the
it?
wrong way.
It's probably Marvel. Is it
It's
Marvel's
not
fault?
just Marvel; it's also the real life. I find meaning in the
what?
I find meaning in permanence in your decisions, and thinking about what could have been different.
It is in this
You know,
world,
it's
though.
fun.
I wonder if every multiverse crew agrees with you.
Yes.
I don't know. Is that something which is, is that like one of those things in time though? Is Kruf's decision about the multiverse similar to, the death of Tybalt? Like a fixed point in time?
Oh no, Tybalt could
know.
die in every multiverse. I wouldn't care.
Oh,
I wouldn't care at all. That's the comment that gets me kicked from the partner program. Wow,
apples for you.
someone had to say it.
oh my god.
No, I love
I think
Tybalt.
he's broken. Jebro's
I
not
really
here.
enjoy Tybalt.
Like,
Not allowed to eat apples
can we
anymore.
I had to.
Tybalt.
Somebody had to.
We got Tybalt like emotes in the chat or something. I don't know.
I love Tybalt. Tybalt's a hoot and a holler.
You're on the Lightbringers podcast.
But it's a canon event. Tibble had to die. We can't bring him back.
That's true. That's true.
I
That's why I don't
genuinely
like
wonder.
multiverses.
Why is he in flipping Stronghold then? He's in Stronghold every day.
Well, that's an echo of him in the mists.
That's the mess.
Damn it!
Yeah, it's either him in the afterlife, or it's an echo of him, similar
him in
to
the
how
afterlife.
Revenant's channel echoes.
He can come back. Isn't in the afterlife. He's there. He's here with us. He's going to come back in a future expansion, and he's just going to be somewhere on a random street selling apples.
Okay, question to the whole podcast. Do you guys think that
I try not to.
and it shows. So, do you guys? Sorry, that was stupid. Yes, shots. There you go.
Boots is not here this week, and LaForlex is like
That
just
was
bringing
masterful.
The pain.
Reading Rainbow.
I didn't skip a beat.
That was pretty good.
Sorry,
Oh, no,
sorry,
you
I
don't
didn't
need
mean to make you from
apologise.
Orbit.
It's
So,
okay.
do you guys think? Let's drag it back. Do you guys think that this archipelago in the sky we're going to be adventuring through in a very short time, Secrets of the Obscure, trademark? Do you think that
It's good.
it has been there?
Actually.
I apologize.
Get it right, come on.
I stand corrected. Do you
Insert
guys think?
Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure.
I can't do that voice. Do you guys think that it's always been there? So since the Astral Ward was set up, the guardians at the gate to protect us threats of the mist, not multiverse, multiverse banned now. Do you think that it's just arrived, or that this stretching, strange reflection of the world?
Oh, sorry, you cut out.
The
Yeah, you cut
stretching
out.
strain
sorry.
of the world.
This stretched out, strange reflection of Tyria. Do you think it's always been there, or is it just arrived because of some cataclysm?
I like to believe that it has always been here, and that this reflective process is something that is ongoing and not just a one and done thing.
I think it might be one and done, given the way they showed it off in the original trailer. Like, if you break that one down a bit frame by frame, we see the Wizard's Tower sitting above Garenhof, and then the Wizard's Tower explodes, and we see alternate Garenhof. So I think that there might be some sort of like event that caused it recently, and it's probably the same reason that Cryptis are now appearing, and that like the wizards have moved.
Could it be similar to what some proof said though, in terms of like it existed as how it did, but the explosion then in the town is what caused the rupture of the things which were already maybe there, so they're kind of alternate versions of what was already there anyway.
I could, yeah, I'm not sure.
I think for me it would give.
Playing devil's
Of course,
advocate there a bit.
I don't know. I don't think many of us know much about what the story actually is, but going into it with the prospect of the commander being new, or like no longer having that level of understanding with the world, going into this new phase of Guild Wars 2 storytelling, and also having that explanation of what the hell were the wizards doing all of this time, I'd feel much more at peace with them, or this scenario always have been existing and it changing over the course of time, so that when we go into it, we're not all just like, what's happening? And the wizards aren't also just like, what's going on? That we have a sense of a grounding point and being like, oh, we're new to the story, but they understand what's happening and they're going to be taking us along on this journey.
Yeah,
So-
I think, the more I think about it, you might be right there. Because one thing that they don't show it off in this trailer, we saw it in the brief showcase of Rifts, is there's a tower that looks a heck of a lot like the Wizard's Folly Tower from Guild Wars 1. And the Wizard's Folly Tower was a second
Bruce pointed
Wizard's
that out
Tower.
last week actually.
Yeah. There's a second Wizard's Tower, right? There's the one that we see in Kessex Hills, and there was one in Guild Wars 1 before the searing that was tied to the ground, and then after the searing we never see it again. But I went to that location in Guild Wars 1, took a screenshot of it, and took one of the screenshots that we see in the promotional materials for SOTO and just overlaid them, and they are spot on. Like, the architecture looks very, very similar. The shape of it is almost exact. And so I'm convinced that tower is in Skywatch Archipelago, and because of that, it makes me think you might be right. It might have always been there. Like, we might have this area might have been here for a really long time, and maybe new islands appear every so often when an event happens. Like maybe the new Garenhof just appeared in the map, so that section's brand new, but the wizards are familiar with the other territories that have been there for a little bit longer.
I think it would be interesting if it's like an ever-evolving landscape before them. So a big event happens in Tyria, like the Forge rising and Balthazar turning like Breaking Bad, and then we have this welling up of magic that kind of reflects what's happening below, and then and so that they're basically they're watching, the wizards are watching the history of the world play out in these kind of alternate kind of reflections of the world. That I kind of like that. I kind of think that would fit. Oh no, the hand again. Oh my god.
You cannot unsee it now.
Wait, I don't know what hand you're talking about
That
here.
hand
what is
animation is a little like...
It's way too much.
It looks like
it's a little exaggerated.
I see that you just saw it. Yeah.
What is happening?
It's a little exaggerated.
I mean, honestly, like I see that as a bonus in some certain situations. I'm just saying. Like,
sorry.
calm down,
tower, though,
it's okay.
This tower that the character is standing right in front of, this I believe is the Wizard's Folly Tower. And here, I'm going to send you a link to the screenshot that I have, or I'll send you the screenshot that I have. Yeah, the bricks. I think this is Wizard's Folly. I'm going to send you the screenshot, so maybe you can put it on screen for everyone. But
the screenshots that I saw, it kind of was in a darker nighttime.
It was, and there's Cryptus rifts around the tower, which at night. So I think there's a story reason for the tower to like get darker. I think that it's going to get taken over at some point by the Cryptus in the storyline. Obviously this is a spoiler because I know nothing of what's actually going to happen, but it looks like that might be the case. Let me send you this screenshot really fast. So
this is just speculation.
Speculation,
right, exactly.
Everyone. Alert. Speculation and not official spoilers.
Well, although potential spoilers.
I mean, it could be, I guess.
It's correct. If it's correct. I always say that. If I am correct in the wild impossibility
you're playing the Necro.
Done something.
Oh.
I am. My pre-searing is a Necro.
Ranges?
But yes, so I sent you two screenshots, one of Wizard's Folly Tower and then one of Wizard's Folly Tower with the SOTO screenshot overlaid on it.
Okay, give me a
spoilers
sec.
until proven correct.
I will do both. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. I saw it before you.
So yeah, I just went to the location and took the screenshot, and then I didn't have to do any work really. I just drag and dropped the SOTO screenshot over the original one, and it was really spot on.
Okay, so this is the original one. And again, can you just say what this is? Sorry.
Sure. So this is Wizard's Folly Tower. It's a second Wizard's Tower that we see in the pre-searing area of Guild Wars 1. It's in Ascalon. It's in a section we can't see after the searing. We can't see it in Guild Wars 2. But we see it before the searing happens in Ascalon, and then we never see it again. And they've implied that it's not connected to the original Wizard's Tower, but never like directly said it's not related.
Okay.
I think they're lying.
I think they implied it, but I don't think I think they were hiding something.
And there you go.
And then here, the second screenshot where you can see the SOTO location overlaid on top of it. And if you kind of go back and forth, it's they're very similar. The spires all kind of line up. The only thing that I think gives it away a bit, in the original trailer for SOTO, we see two spires behind Garenhof, which given my kind of map knowledge of what we've seen of Skywatch Archipelago, has to be these two spires. And they don't have a bridge at the top. In Guild Wars 1 they had a bridge, but Wizard's Tower architecture changed a lot between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, and now from launch of Guild Wars 2 to SOTO, so that doesn't discredit this in my head.
I mean, even if it isn't the same place, it's heavily
it's very similar.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, that's a really good catch.
Nice.
I like all the eyes. I
the rifts are really interesting. But we see it briefly. You were showing off the trailer for the rifts. And we see it in the background there with that weird hand animation. But we see it during the day, and then we see it in the screenshot at night. And I wonder what the story implications are of the rifts being there at some points and not in others. But I do think it's interesting that specific screenshot that I used there was not on their website. It was in the media promotional material that like other websites got, but they did not put it on their own website.
Interesting. Oh yeah, they do that a lot of the time as well. Actually,
Yeah, there were 2 screenshots that they gave to media, but they didn't put on their own website.
Interesting. Just seeing if the other.
No, there's very sneaky of them.
Very sneaky.
Snicker.
But they can't sneak it past me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Snack.
Okay, what we're gonna do is, because we've definitely gone over like 2 hours, because
Remember you said it's gonna be a short stream?
Just a quick one.
I shouldn't have shouldn't have brought on another lore nerd, really. And like all of you really like. Well,
I know. Why is Fornax even here? Like, come on.
I know. I should have took the night off.
Damn.
Fornax and Astral Legend, it has been a pleasure to learn and hear more about this kind of stuff, because I honestly forget things like this all the time, and I'm starting to get more interested because of all of you. So thank you very much for your knowledge.
I am particularly excited to play Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure for the purpose of diving into role playing greatly in part in terms of reasoning, because I'm gonna wear the wizard's hat, but no one else can.
The wizard's hat gives you hair. Which is so weird.
I've actually really been finding a whole lot of value in roleplay and story because of Baldur's Gate 3. And I think I'm going to be approaching this expansion with a very different mindset than I have with other expansions. So I'm very excited. Very excited about that.
There ain't gonna be no bear sex in this, honey. I'm sorry.
Well, I could just befriend a Norn. It's okay. We can just we can just do something like that.
I'm sure there are some players who are willing to roleplay that with you.
I just gotta go to Divinity's Reach and just do some roleplay.
Yeah, not in bird form, exactly.
We've had that for like 11 years already. Okay, that's nothing new. Baldur's Gate did it second. We had it first.
I've had such a weird week. I've been playing Palia, which is the most care bear thing that you ever seen.
So good.
And I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is slightly not.
Just a little.
I had a relationship in the first, very first. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything actually because I spoil this.
I'm still trying to get Gale to let me explore.
Touch you.
Yeah.
To let me explore.
I want to know what's going on with that quarterstaff, but that's all I'll say.
Okay.
Remember your safe word. Remember your safe word.
Your safe word is
my safe word is Mistra.
Oh my god. Okay, right. We are gonna go now. I'm decided.
You'll have to cut all that out.
No,
Yeah,
probably.
Nah. Not showing the characters. Sorry. First of all, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. Great work everyone on talking about a few things there. The Skyscale in Secrets of the in the Skyscale with Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, as well as
Secrets of the Obscure
trailer for just the fly through, showing us some bits and bobs. Hopefully, please, Arena, give us some more footage.
Do you think we'll get Amnitas?
Amnitas? I don't know. I hope so, because we've seen
Wait,
like
how do
nothing
you pronounce
from
it?
Amnitas?
Amnitas. I have not heard anyone pronounce it that way.
Amnitas?
I haven't heard anyone else pronounce it any other way until now. I guess I don't talk about it enough with others. Amnitas? I could see that.
Amnitas?
I'm not sure.
Amnitas.
We're gonna need to
Amnitas?
wait for someone to say it, because
we're gonna need to hear it,
4 different
because
pronunciations now.
I tried to see if there was some sort of like etymology to that name or that word, and there's not.
There's something
I made it
very
up.
similar to it that I actually came across.
There is. It's like an animate. I don't remember. They like put the N in the M.
I can't remember it, but it's very
it's some
similar.
location in like Turkey or something, if I remember correctly. I remember finding that too.
Well, maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll see a trailer on.
Well, guess what, Chris?
Amnitas,
You can find
Amnitas.
out in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the
Secrets
Obscure.
of the
Maybe it was
Obscure,
someone
coming
who said it.
August 22nd.
Boom.
Honestly, if you took a shot every time they typed Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure in a blog post, you would need to go to the hospital.
Boy.
You would be destroyed. Maybe that's fun drinking it. Okay, definitely do it.
Fun.
Thank you very much, everyone. Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it. We end the podcast now.
Hey everyone, I'm Kroof. I make a bunch of videos over on my YouTube channel. You can go and subscribe and be cool. I'm trying to reach like 1,000 subscribers. I don't know if I can. It's really hard, but my mom said I can do it. So if my mom thinks I can, I know I can. But thank you for having me. I'm gonna go make a tuna fish sandwich and drink some apple juice and maybe eat some applesauce.
Sandwich.
Your lore is confusing me. Earlier you said you own YouTube.
Oh, that's
well,
true.
I own YouTube, but like I'm trying my hand at it. I'm just not really good at marketing, but I'm really good at being a CEO.
That makes sense. That explains it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fornax. That's what you do where you do it.
I hate Elon Musk. Anyway, Fornax.
Wait,
Sorry, he's getting an Elon Musk vibe from that little cosplay
okay.
there. Jesus God.
Yeah, true.
I'm not a real CEO, I'm just pretending to be one. But his mummy won't let him go boxing. I mean, I ask you. You. Anyway.
That's right. That's the only time I would actually root for that other twat.
Robot boy, yes.
I can't remember his name.
I'm not a real
Mark.
boy.
Good old Mark.
Oh
Beat
my
the
gosh. Anyway.
Living crap out of him, please. Sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm a therapist.
I'm Fornax. I am despairing at the universe, but I like video games. Let's all take shelter in video games and the sanity that they provide. Please do watch my YouTube channel. There's 2 Paleo videos on there. I know it's not the next one
Isn't
with
it
2 content this
Parlia?
week.
Isn't it Parlia or is it
It's
Paleo?
The pronunciation wars continue again.
So I heard them. I listened to their live stream, which was. They actually promoted their game, and they called it Paleo. So shots fired. I'm sorry. I love you. Please, God, promote the game. It's great. It deserves all the love. Anyway, yes. Please watch my Paleo videos, and I'm going to make a load of videos down week. Well, not this week. I have to take a week off because I have small children coming to me. Pray for me. Pray for me, people. If I make it out of that alive, it will be amazing. 1 week. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we have literally like.
Sorry.
You're funny. It's okay. I'm just assuming you're insulting everyone. We literally have a week and a half to the expansion as well. Just a reminder. Week and a half alert.
We are so close.
Alert. There's no sound effect there. Damn it. Okay. Add that in post-op editor. I don't have an editor. Which I don't edit these. What was that? Sound like a police
I don't
car?
know. It could be. Yes.
Astral Legend.
I mean,
sorry. What do you have a
you get
comment?
what you pay for. You get what you pay for.
I didn't
There
pay
you
for
go.
your
There you go.
noise.
Exactly.
that was a freebie. I'll send you the shekels in the post.
I'm sending you an invoice, Jebro.
Okay, thanks. There you go. I'll send you digital currency. It will be called Fornax coin. Astral Legend.
Oh.
Worth its weight in script. Astral Legend. Thank you so much for joining us on late notice. It was awesome to have you in
thanks
your
for having me.
lore knowledge. Oh no, absolutely. And follow all of your bits and bobs on Twitter. I would say follow all of these amazing people. Please go do it. Tell us what you do, where you do it. And if you've had times of streams and whatnot, add those as well, please.
Yeah, so I am over on Twitter every day, posting daily lore there every evening right before I go to bed typically. So if you can wake up in the morning and read a bit about Guild Wars 2 if you want. I stream on Twitch usually Thursday and Friday nights. I'll be live in a couple of hours teaching some guys Wing 6 in the Mystic Forge.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so I'll be going live in just under 2 hours to do that. And I am working on starting up my YouTube channel. I actually have less than 1,000 subscribers, so to do that, I have like 290. So come subscribe.
We can go for that goal together.
Yeah, that would be great, Kroof. If we could, do you want to collab?
I think we should collab.
I think we should unsubscribe to Kroof and subscribe to Astral Legend because Kroof is
I think
way too
Jebro should shut the fuck up.
In. Here we go.
I actually subscribed to your channel today. I follow you already on Twitter, and I do reply to some of your stuff and retweet all that I see.
I love it. Thank you so much for the support. I really love seeing that.
It's great stuff.
Thank you.
You've taught me all sorts of things, so I appreciate it.
That is really surprising to hear, but I am glad that I could, because I view you as another lore expert. So it's really cool to hear that I've taught you a thing or two. That's really cool. Thank you.
I am not an expert in lore, but you can follow me on twitch.tv/JebroUnity. I'm learning from all of them, which is good. Kroof is fired.
You now have 300 subscribers. You're welcome.
Griff doesn't care.
You only need
that they're
700
fine.
more, Astral. You're almost there.
Thank you very
I'm
much
so
for the
close,
raid
thank
as
you.
well, but we're actually going to end right now, so welcome everyone. But I'm
But
sorry.
before you all end, you all can go and like subscribe to our YouTube channels. Like it's fine, whatever. Like you know.
I mean, I think you should probably. Like, that would be nice.
My mom said that you all have to subscribe to my YouTube channel or else like you can't come to my birthday party.
Well, Griff, since you own it, can't you just like boost my numbers real quick? Like, can't you just like you just change the algorithm? Call it the astrolithm.
Can you pay me?
Astrolithm.
I mean, that can work too.
Oh my
We should just go and let them just carry
I was
on
gonna
back
say,
and
yeah,
forth
I
for a
just
couple of
leave you
hours.
to,
That's
like,
fine.
My wife
Yeah,
needs me
it's
for sure. She's sick.
She's sick.
She has bronchitis. Okay.
Oh my
Her cough
God.
is worse than mine. She needs some help.
Please send
I got
her my best.
bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time.
Thank you. Yeah. Ain't nobody got
know.
time for that.
Jesus Christ. Please like and comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jebro as well, where you have a lot of episodes, 100+ episodes of awesome content in Guild Wars 2 for new players and old and returning as well. And hopefully we see you next time. There will definitely be a podcast next week at about 1 p.m. ish Pacific. It's going to be the last podcast before the expansion drops. Guild Wars
And before
2.
season 3 of the Lightbringers.
Woo.
Yes, it's going to be the season 3. Oh no, but it'll be episode
Yeah.
59.
So?
Does that mean I just do another episode
No,
on Monday?
I thought you said 59 was today.
Is it 59?
Yeah, I thought today was
I didn't
59.
actually
You said
plan it.
59.
Oh,
So,
that's
but
true.
That's what you said in the end. Yeah, so you'll
Oh my
have 60
God.
episodes in season 2, and then you
Oh
start
my
season
god,
3.
Perfect.
that's actually perfect.
It's flawless. You planned it perfectly, Jebro.
I did.
We timed this.
But it
Every time we
did.
took a break,
Just
it
get
was
credit.
just so
It
we could
was-
get
It
that
was.
nice round
Had to get the
number.
rhythm down.
I know, it's not 69, I'm sorry. I could just do that as a funny, but
Nice.
it would make sense, to be fair. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, be good to other people, and yeah, the world's a bit of a mess right now, but you get to hang out with wonderful people like this. You get to be pretty thankful for what you've got. So appreciate you all. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Follow all these wonderful people. Touch their links and do the knee things. Goodbye.
The knee thing? Like get loose knees like Griff?
My knees are real loose.